Hello and welcome to Conversations on a Broken Couch. My name is Nathaniel and I am joined by Scott and Brandon, and for the first time ever, woo, a special guest.
Whoa.
This is Wes. Wes is great.
I'll
How you
try.
doing, Wes?
I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here. Excited.
Good.
Yeah.
How are you guys? How are we doing today?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Doing good. We're just chilling.
Anything?
As always, I'm playing World of Warcraft for the game stream,
Mhm.
Got to
Mhm.
get the Subway Surfers vibe going.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
That's basically what this is. Yeah.
You mean you don't want to do Minecraft parkour?
No, I'm good.
That's
I don't
that's
want
the
to do that for
new
an
the
hour and a
new
half.
thing
That
with
sounds
all the
miserable.
Instagram reels, or is it the TikToks? I don't know. I
Is
don't
it
do
Minecraft parkour?
these
Instagram
things.
Reels are just
Yeah.
TikToks 3 months later. So.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Then what are YouTube
that
Shorts?
makes a lot of sense actually.
What are YouTube Shorts then?
I don't know. I prefer YouTube Shorts. I like my algorithm
YouTube
better.
Shorts. Yeah, YouTube Shorts actually tends to have a more moderation in the form of just content in general. Like, there's some stuff you just can't put on YouTube, and it actually works as like its own form of moderation, so you can't just load a bunch of crap on there for people to see. I prefer
And
YouTube as well for that
I was
reason.
gonna ask, well, does Facebook have anything? But that's
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, that's Reels.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
They're also on Facebook.
hmm
I wouldn't know. I don't have any of that.
Yeah. Facebook's about all I
So-
have, and I find myself doom scrolling on Facebook Reels, and I feel like my almost
Oof.
60-year-old dad. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a travesty.
Yeah.
I just heard.
The Facebook videos is the reason I got rid of Facebook because it was a lot of time I was wasting in school when I should have been listening to the teacher.
Yeah.
Wes, I wanna grill you a little.
Okay.
I do
Oh, no.
this every time I have a special guest on anything,
'Kay.
which has only happened once. So this
Oh.
is the second time.
I'm honored.
Yeah, the first person was my mom,
Yeah.
so it's a pretty
Great,
big deal.
great.
All right,
True.
I'm gonna ask you some very difficult questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
First one:
hmm
What is your favorite color?
I was just thinking about this the other day, and I've never had one really.
Really?
I like black, and I also like
That's
the.
not a color.
I guess that's
Don't,
true.
don't, Brandon, don't get into that.
It's a fair point.
It's
Um,
the absence of color.
But but there's also the opposite because there's the two schools of color theory that white is a color, and all the others are that at its brightest, with white being the absolute. But then the other, and that means black is the lack of white. It's the absence of color, and white being every color. But then the opposite school is that if you mix every color together in your Crayola watercolors, eventually you get black. And so,
Yeah.
but I think that the paradox is that both are true if we want both to be colors.
Wow.
Anyway,
We got real deep there for a second.
favorite color.
Well,
I
they,
would
they
say
have a term for white
He
and
went
black.
into
It's
it.
called abstracts. There's an actual term for it.
wow.
Abstracts. What about
Yeah, they're
jet
called
black?
abstract.
That's a color, right? Because it's got a name in front of
extra.
it.
Nathaniel, just because you add something to it doesn't make it more color.
Give it an adjective.
Jet black or true white, aren't those colors?
No, that's
Oh, you
true.
gave it an adjective. It's automatically a color now. You're right.
Yeah. Cool blue, deep
All
red.
right.
Wow.
Take a chill pill. Cool blue. What is this, Kool-Aid?
All right.
That's funny.
Your favorite color is.
I'm gonna go with
Sorry.
like this like military hunter green.
Okay.
Like not the bright
Mm.
green.
Nice.
Like
Oh, that's
you know,
awesome.
I'd blend in with the trees
Yeah. If I wore
walked
full
into the
suit.
trees. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good color. All right. Second, what is your favorite? I think this says a lot about someone more than just
Oh gosh. Okay.
than just like a
Here we go.
book. Well, no, sorry, more than just like a movie or a game or something. What is your favorite book
Okay. So
besides the Bible?
yeah, that's number one. I read this book Shutter Island, and I loved it. That was
Oh.
my favorite book. But I just like 2 nights ago finished The Revenant, and I really enjoyed The Revenant. Like it was very good. And then I watched I'd never seen the movie, and I watched it like 5 minutes after and hated the movie. So yeah.
Okay.
What are these books about? I've
Yeah,
heard
I've
of
never heard of
Shutter
them.
Island. I don't know what it's
Oh.
about.
Okay, so Shutter Island is about it's a mystery. It's kind of like a thriller mystery. It's about this guy who's on um, like a psych ward, but it's an island. It's like a prison for inmates who are like mentally insane.
Mhm.
But he's going in as a cop, as an investigator, to figure out how this person escaped, where she went. She just went missing. And there's like twists and turns all throughout it, and it's super good. There's a movie about it. I
Is
think
the
Martin
movie better?
Scorsese. No, the book
Okay.
was so much better. I read the book before I watched the
Uh,
movie,
Okay.
and I personally, I never thought I'd be that person that was
Yeah.
like the book's so much better.
Yeah.
But I was that way with The Hobbit and this and The Revenant now. So, and then The
The Hobbit
Revenant,
is infinitely better. Yeah.
it is, and I didn't read it till after I watched the movies. So,
Well,
The Revenant.
I'm of the opposite opinion, but that's okay.
Well, you can be
Me
wrong
too.
and
That's
still be a
fine.
good
That's
person,
fine.
you know.
There's reasons. I like both.
Yeah.
I honestly think I like both. Okay. We can get to that later. We can get to that later.
Yeah, and The Revenant is based
These are-
off true story.
We're choosing our hills to die on real quick here, boys.
Oh,
said
why
it's a
didn't
true
I
story.
say that a couple episodes
It
ago?
is.
Dang
It's
it.
it's a true story. The novel it's a fictional retelling of the true story, and then
Okay.
the movie is a fictional retelling of the
Of
novel.
the fictional retelling.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's a lot. The story's
Yeah.
just a lot different. So I'm gonna have to give the movie another chance after it's been a while since I've read the book. But it's about a man named Hugh Glass, who was a fur trader or a trapper in the 1800s. He got attacked by a grizzly bear, and
That
was
sounds
left for
horrible.
dead.
Oh.
He survived and went after try to find the guys who left him for dead.
Well,
Basically, yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
That
the
is
opposite
metal.
of the Good Samaritan
Exactly.
takes
Yeah.
revenge.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah. Okay. The Hobbit. Listen. My thing is, I like them both, almost to a point that I feel like you can't really compare them, because The Hobbit is a great book, legendary book in its own right, and then the Hobbit movies, I feel like, were made more to supplement the Lord of the Rings movies than they were to be an adaptation of the Hobbit book. So in that, with when you watch it, like keeping that in mind, you can watch it however you want with whatever mindset you want. But what I like most about the movies is in the Battle of the Five Armies.
Okay.
Bilbo does not just get hit by a rock and we skip to after the battle. I like that we
Yeah.
got to see the battle.
That's fair.
And I think I liked his ending with Thorin better than
Yeah.
Yeah,
than in the
me
book.
too.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's my biggest hang up on the book, because how you end is everything.
Yeah.
You can have a movie or a book or something that is 95% a 10 out of 10, and then it just the last 5% is so bad that it just ruins the
Yeah.
whole thing for you.
It's like Batman vs Superman.
Oof.
I hate that movie.
Ooh.
I hate it. I think it's awful.
It's a terrible movie.
It's so
It's
bad.
objectively a bad
And
movie.
Justice League. They're both terrible. And The Flash.
Yeah. See, okay, I liked Batman vs Superman up until the scene with the whole "What about Martha?" and he's just like,
Oh my gosh.
"Why did you say that name?" And it just instantly, because I heard the extended cut was better, and so I was like, I'll give it a chance, and I watched it.
They have
And
an
up until
extended
that
cut?
point, yeah.
It's as Zack Snyder.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours or something.
Something like
right?
that.
Yeah.
And so I was watching it, and I was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I remember. And then we got to those
Got back
lines,
to that scene.
and I was just like,
And
no, this is
Yeah.
terrible.
I just is
When
Batman
two
that
superheroes have
unstable?
serious mommy issues.
I don't know.
Is he that unstable?
I
That just because think Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
in normal life, someone says Martha and he goes and just beats the crap out of them. Like, I get it's different I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know all the
Oh.
context.
This is also an
but
older
I
Bruce
don't
Wayne
plan on
too.
watching
Like
it.
it's been
That's fair.
40
Yeah.
years since
Yeah.
he's been Batman.
yeah.
Is
Well,
he
I just-
still?
I
Is
think
this
that
still a
wouldn't-
wound?
Yeah.
I
That's
thought
a
one
great
of the
point.
biggest things Batman did was immediately go and deal with his traumas. Right? Like that's a thing.
Nope.
No.
I mean, they still
Not
drive
in the
him,
modern comics.
but I think he gets. I think he gets over him to a degree over time, and then the things that start to drive him is the death of Jason and the death of Alfred, like those kind of things, like depending on the continuity. But he's Batman eventually, not just to take revenge, but to help people. So yeah. All right. Next question.
Oh yeah.
What is your
We haven't
favorite
even gotten to grilling
food?
yet.
Favorite food?
Yeah.
Sandwiches.
Oh,
Just
any
any form.
Yeah.
I really
let's
love
go.
Philly cheesesteak, but really any
Oh, my man.
sandwich. I'm a No, they're just simple.
That's
Like
that
ham
is
and cheese,
a great answer.
all the way to like a French dip sandwich. Any of it.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I want to elaborate on this question a tiny bit more. When you go to Subway or whatever your favorite sub shop is, what
Is
is
there
your
a Subway here?
go-to?
Mhm.
You can
Okay.
always get this item and you're good with it.
Oh,
Your
man,
ideal
that is
sandwich.
it's literally anything. I don't. You just put some
You
meat,
just
some
want something
cheese in between a couple pieces of bread,
yeah.
and it's gold. I'm not. I will.
That was my entire childhood.
Yeah,
Is
that's what I
every
grew
time
up
my
on,
mom
man.
cooked food, she swore up and down if she just gave me bread, I'd turn everything into a sandwich.
Yeah, it's just something
give
about
me
it. It becomes
oatmeal?
magical.
Yeah, you give me
Dude.
oatmeal, I'll put it between bread.
Heck
You
yeah.
give
I
me
grew up
soup, I'll yeah,
oatmeal and toast.
everything.
You toast bread and butter it, and you put the oatmeal on that.
Here's what you do: oatmeal.
Really good.
Take a couple pieces, and then you get your glass, turn it into an oatmeal uncrustable. Put it around the oatmeal. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Dude, you just
Listen.
blew my mind.
Hey, hey.
You can't be
Sandwiches.
one-upping
Sandwiches the man over
our
here.
sandwich
Wow.
game like this, dude.
Wow.
Sorry. I didn't mean to just
He's-
come in here and steal the
That's
show.
incredible.
But
You roll up and
incredible.
start one-upping my sandwich game. I feel insecure now.
Well,
Crazy.
it is time for the second annual Star Wars episode of the podcast. Now, last year our episode released on May the 4th, where this will probably come out in a few days, but at the moment we're a week late, so a little over a week late. But it's still gonna be the Star Wars episode because it's Star Wars month right now on H7 Bus. So this is part of Star Wars month, and our next episode at the end of the month will also be a Star Wars episode. But we have come each prepared with a topic related to Star Wars, and we're just going to talk about it for, the next however long. So,
heck yeah.
does anyone want to go first, or Wes, or you?
Whatever.
Do you
I
have,
can.
Do you
Yeah.
want to go first? Do
Sure.
the honors?
Yeah. I'll
All
do
right.
it.
What
Thought it'd be
What
good.
have you brought
Okay.
for us to discuss?
So, Star Wars, big Star Wars event in Tokyo recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
We saw. We're getting Starfighter.
New movie.
New
Yep.
movie, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Gosling. This is the
Yeah.
first Star Wars movie to pull in a big name actor to play the lead
The
role
lead role.
in
yeah.
a brand new movie. And even, I mean, I guess the sequels they had J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson. So, but anyway, do we think that having an arguably A-list, A-tier actor who's just really popular right now is a good move for where Star Wars is at? Or just in general, because even the only thing I could think to compare it is maybe Solo, because we had like Donald Glover, Amelia Clarke, Paul Bettany.
But they weren't the main characters.
No, but there was just so many.
There
of
was
them.
a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
and even in any of the other Star Wars movies, there's not really been. I mean, you could
Besides
argue.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah, besides Alec
Yeah.
Guinness, really, and James
Besides-
Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about him, which is weird. Anyway,
So I think my answer to that is the caliber of the actor or their status as AAA or whatnot, I don't believe matters as long as that actor understands, like,
The source
you
material.
have a very dedicated fan base who cares a lot
Mhm.
about the source material. They care a lot about the spirit of what Star Wars is. Forget modern movies, old movies. There is a spirit to Star Wars of what people expect. And if you don't go out of your way to match that, or at least try to, you're going to be hated.
yeah,
So
That's where I'm at.
my question to you, Wes, because you're a little more informed on that. I only saw like the pictures on X of, this new thing is announced.
Mhm.
Do we know what he thinks about Star Wars?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it.
If he's like a fan or whatever.
I'm sure he's gonna claim he's a fan. You know,
Okay, that'd be smart.
Everyone
any
does.
any
Yeah,
any
he
actors
should.
coming
He
into
should.
this,
That's the real answer.
especially since here's the thing: Star Wars fans can get a little bit crazy
They
sometimes.
okay.
They can get a
I
little.
I
A
hear
little
people
bit.
say I hear people say like Star Wars has the best fan base, and maybe they have the most passionate, but they
Yeah.
misplace and misuse that passion a lot.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And
I
don't
won't lie. I
know.
feel like the Star Wars fan base might be one of the most toxic now. It's
I
pretty
think
rough.
But I
very
think it's
well
because
could
it's
be.
so big. You eventually get to a place
Yeah.
where, you know, usually the loudest voices are minorities. So you have a lot of
Yeah.
people that like Star Wars, just in general, and then you have the mega fans and the mega haters, and then you have the people within those groups that like certain things and dislike certain things. And the majority of people are just like, oh, cool, something new, Star Wars, I'm going to check it out or not. But then everyone else, the smaller groups, the really loud smaller groups, is where I think more often than not toxicity would lie. Um, it's gotten so big to where it's weird because I felt like growing up it was more niche still
Yeah.
until the sequels came out. I still felt like Star Wars wasn't a not every like everyone had seen it, but not everyone was. This is just a normal thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's huge.
Well, I think it could have been considered more niche because, like, nerdism or whatever you want to
Mhm.
say really didn't become like mainstream or popular
It
until
wasn't
Marvel.
cool. It wasn't cool.
Yeah, and so if you were really into anything like sci-fi or fantasy or comic book, you were still kind of, I guess, outcast in a sense.
yeah.
But now it's like it's so mainstream and
Mhm.
so modern.
Now
It's
being a nerd is cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Which
it's
is weird.
weird.
Because I honestly like I never got bullied for being a nerd, but I didn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
yeah,
But the friends I did have, man, we
We're
were
also super
tight
nerds.
because we were the only nerd friends each other
Yeah.
had. So I kind of miss it being the other way.
yeah,
Like which I can say that because I never got bullied for it, but which I know that's the thing. A lot of people, uh, y'all's age, would have more growing up. I was kind of in the middle of when that was starting to become cool as the internet
Yeah.
was becoming more mainstream. But I think it's I don't know. I think with it being more widespread, there's people that are they're less deep into certain things because they just have seen all these shows
hmm
and I don't know. It's weird. Maybe just that I think it's less. It just feels less special. Some of these things. Yeah. I haven't fully processed this thought yet. Okay. Sean Levy. He did
Nathaniel.exe. His
Deadpool,
stuff
right?
So Sean Levy did Deadpool and Wolverine, the most
Mhm.
recent one. It's the only one he did out of the three.
Oh,
Okay.
that was him.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
also did the Night at the Museum trilogy,
Okay.
and then he did
Oh.
the Adam Project on Netflix
With that
with
was
Ryan
Oh, yeah.
Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So he's
I
the
haven't
only
seen that
like sci-fi type thing he's done is that, and then he did a few episodes of Stranger Things.
Okay.
Other than that,
Oh, wow.
he's done
Okay.
like the Night at the Museum. He did a movie called The Internship, which was a comedy with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. Um, so the sci-fi stuff we've seen from him, like as a sci-fi movie, the Adam Project was
That was a movie.
it was
Thought it was a TV show.
it was a movie. It was a
Okay.
Netflix movie. It was okay. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds just plays Ryan Reynolds and everything,
Yeah.
and they got a kid version of him basically. So
Yeah. I saw the memes.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got the
that's-
So he was set up for success. He really couldn't fail.
pretty much,
they
yeah.
got
Yeah.
the kid in that. He's the guy who plays Percy Jackson now
Is it the same
Who's
kid?
Oh, I didn't know
the
that.
in the Disney one.
Who's the director responsible for the one and only Ryan Reynolds flop? Was it the Green Lantern? Who's the
Oh.
director responsible? for
gosh.
I can't remember.
I will look that up.
Do it.
Because
Do it.
man, that guy. I hope he never directs a movie again after that. My
I
goodness.
feel like Ryan Reynolds could be a cool Green Lantern too. I think he's talked with, or what's his? There's something with James Gunn. I don't know if Ryan Reynolds said something or James Gunn said something, but no, apparently
Martin
there's
Campbell.
not opposition to Ryan Reynolds being back in.
They already have a new Hal
in-
Jordan. I
Yeah,
think.
they have a new
Okay,
Green Lantern, but to having Ryan Reynolds be
just another.
back in DC in some
Oh,
regard, right?
okay, interesting.
So, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of James Gunn and has been asked in all these interviews about many different actors, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it just in
So-
different things." So,
Brandon,
It's
you were
kinda
talking
interesting.
about the guy who directed Green Lantern, Martin Campbell. He's the guy that directed GoldenEye, The
Oh,
Legend of
no.
Zorro, The Mask
Oh,
of Zorro,
no.
Casino Royale.
I regret my
That guy,
choice of
gosh.
words.
That guy should
Misses
never
after
make a
misses.
movie
Good
again.
grief.
So, is
Oh,
it a studio
no.
interference thing then? Is that why that movie
That
turned
has
out
to
that
have
way?
been.
Who
Then.
wrote it? I mean,
I don't know.
that
Oh,
has a lot
yeah,
to do
that's.
with it. The story.
I'll look that up.
That one's old
Because-
enough. You can't blame it on the writer's strike. Let me tell you.
I mean,
Yeah.
when did it come out? It was like 2010 or something, right?
Something like that.
Because
Yeah.
that's when studio interference was becoming pretty bad. Like, I don't know if you've heard about this, but The Amazing Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
that movie,
Mm-hmm.
it
Such a great movie.
It did good.
Yeah.
Compared to the second, which didn't do as good.
Right.
But that movie, both of those, is one of like the worst cases of studio interference
Mm. Interesting.
ever.
Okay.
If you learn about, I feel so bad for Mark Webb. You hire a guy to direct
I
the
can't
movie
believe I said
and
that.
work on writing it, whose last name is Webb.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, this guy is perfect for this. And then there's just all this stuff that gets taken out, and
Yeah.
you take out, which a big thing of that was taking the humanity out of the villain. Like, let's put the stuff in that makes the lizard more empathetic, because you can't have bad guys be complex,
Yeah.
which is a big deal with the MCU nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like a complex bad guy.
Yeah.
They're just better in every way.
I'm also
Yeah,
okay with not
yeah.
complex bad guys.
Sometimes
I
it's,
can
it's
go
chill
either
to just
way.
have the evil guy be evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Like
a
the
time
Emperor.
and a place for that. Hold up.
Yes.
What did you just say?
The
Heretic?
Emperor is evil.
Emperor?
I think he's talking about Star
Emperor
Wars.
and what?
Brandon.
Star Wars,
Oh.
not Warhammer. I don't know
Oh.
anything about the Emperor and Warhammer, Brandon. That's you. I'm not gonna
Well,
make that comment.
I don't think the Emperor's
That's-
in Warhammer.
He's pretty- he's pretty
he
evil.
Seems, he seems pretty
he's
chill to
pretty
me.
not good. But back on subject. Sorry.
Okay. I
That's
think
why I was
Sean
so
Levy.
surprised by what you said.
I think it's very, him being hired as the director very clearly shows where Disney thinks Star Wars is at right now, which is kind of in a tough place, because Sean Levy, from what I understand, Hollywood sees him as, this is the guy you hire if you want a guaranteed safe 8 out of 10 movie. So they're
Interesting.
going, let's get the guy who's gonna actually get a movie out, because
Yeah.
we've had all these canceled movies. Let's get a guy who will listen to us and give us still like a safe, this is gonna be successful. It might not be the best thing in the world, but people will enjoy it, right? Where
Yeah.
normally I would want them to hire the visionary, hire the guy who's gonna be bold, which they did with Episode 8. And that's why there's a lot of people that really like that movie,
Yeah.
and a lot of people that don't, because the guy was bold. My biggest problem with Episode 8 is Episode 9, because if Episode 9 had ran with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I
it
agree.
didn't. It
Episode
didn't.
9 kind of undid everything. You know?
Yeah.
They worked for it.
In fact, they spent the first half of the movie trying to do their own The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
and everything came out a little rushed. More than a little rushed. It just felt
I
very
guess.
rushed. They're introducing all these characters and all these different concepts, and like the
New
forced
places,
teleportation thing. It's like, this is a lot in an hour that we have to try and comprehend
That movie was
so
3
that it
hours,
makes sense
right?
for the next hour and a half.
Yeah.
Was it 3 hours?
I think it was a 3-hour movie that could have
Oh,
used
boy.
another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think
No,
that's one good
no.
thing about the Sean Levy Ryan Gosling one. It's just a one-off. It's
Yeah.
not the start to the new trilogy, which I don't know what the goal is with the new trilogy, but they are working on it.
I heard a rumor that they're working on a Darth Maul thing right now.
They
Well,
are
they-
doing
they announced
a.
that, right?
It's a
It's a
cartoon.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what
It's
that
a-
is? It's like
I was wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about.
Yeah, I know they got Sam Witwer on it.
Yeah, I'm
That's
pretty
the
sure
name,
it's
right?
about. It's a cartoon. It's about him after Order 66, I think, before the Clone Wars,
Yeah,
like
with
that
the
kind of in
scene
between
and
time.
all
Like
that.
Crimson Dawn and stuff.
Oh,
I think so.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was wondering
I want
about that because I saw Sam Witwer and he's great,
Mm-hmm.
great Darth Maul. But I couldn't find anything on if that was animated or not, and so I was kind of looking forward to seeing him actually
I think it's
do
animated.
live action, because I think he could do it. He's a very he's a very good actor, very physical actor. Um, but you know, it's also, I mean, you do have big shoes to fill if you're trying to play Darth Maul
Yeah,
with more than just the voice. So
yeah.
I don't know how
Trying
that
to
would go.
get Ray
But
Park in there.
yeah,
And
animated is a
I,
safer
I can't
bet.
lie, man. Like Ray Park may be physically Darth Maul, but we all know, like voice wise, I think of the Clone
yeah,
Wars every time.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's the expansion
He
of it. A lot of
certainly
people feel
spoke
that way
more as Maul.
with Matt
Yeah,
Lanter and Hayden Christensen
how
too.
many voice lines
Interesting.
were in?
Yeah.
I
How
think
many
Maul
voice
only
lines
had
did Maul
one
have?
voice line in the Phantom Menace. Nate,
Yeah.
fact check me.
Something like that.
Had
Dude.
very
It's
few.
it's
Was
when
it
he's walking with
At
the Emperor.
last,
Yeah.
the Jedi, or we will have our revenge, or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's when he's walking with the Emperor. I don't think he says
Yeah.
anything on Tatooine. Doesn't say anything during the fight with the Jedi.
He makes one
So-
he like exclaims when he gets cut in half.
Yeah, something like that.
That's it.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
just says one or two lines.
I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's,
I'm not thinking about it too hard because I don't follow the movie industry as I do other industries. But I like Ryan Gosling. He's had some pretty good movies.
what has he been
Yeah.
in?
If they make he was Ken in Barbie.
He was most recently Ken.
I just know his name
Yeah,
and the face.
he was in.
haven't
I think it's
watched
called
anything
The
he's in, I
Fall
think.
Guy, where he was a stunt. He was a stunt man who had to kill people or something.
Yeah, it was like a
Wild.
action adventure movie, kind of one of those like
Yeah.
spies who didn't need to be a. I guess you could compare it to like Jack Ryan, but like
Okay.
not
Yeah,
an
kinda.
analyst into a spy, just
I-
stumbled into it kind of deal.
I had a friend who saw it, and I never talked to him about it.
I watched
But
it.
it was never
okay.
a movie I wanted to watch. But I heard it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been. He's been. in
I think
quite
it'll
a
be
bit.
cool. If anything, it'll bring more people to the fandom, which means
That's true.
good
Which
things.
is money.
I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's money and growth.
Also, it's
which is-
starfighters. And
Yeah.
so when I think of starfighters, my first thought is like rebels and X-wings, and you
Yeah.
know the whole trench run scene from episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always down for that. And if it turns out to be like a like Top Gun but Star Wars, I'm cool with that too.
I think
That'd
it'd
be
be dope.
awesome. That's exactly what I want. I know that was gonna be kind of the route the canceled Rogue Squadron movie
Squadron?
was gonna take.
Yeah.
Which that
think-
movie would have been. I think that would have been so good because you're having it made by someone who, if I remember correctly, her father, the director who was going to be making that movie, had been like an Air Force pilot or something, and so it was very important to her to get to like portray some of that in Star Wars, which the movie didn't happen. But I think making a movie about Wedge and Rogue Squadron could have been really really cool, but. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems they might kind of be going with that idea a little bit with Starfighter, and
I hope so.
it's X-wings and all that, and that's always fun. At least it'll probably have some cool space battles. Star Wars always does space battles
Yeah.
good, so yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Indeed.
I think it's a good direction. I like that we're
Another-
seeing. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
I like that we're seeing more outside of the Jedi in the Star Wars universe. Like I feel
Me
like
too.
they dipped their toes
Yeah.
in it with Rogue One a little bit, and then they did the Mandalorian, and then Andor. I still haven't watched Andor, but I've heard amazing things about both seasons, and so now it's like okay, let's try to get some big picture like movie theater pictures in there that are
Yeah.
not so much just Jedi's
Jedi.
and Sith and all that. So
Yeah. Which is
What
what,
I
I
I haven't seen the
expected.
second season either.
What I particularly enjoy about Star Wars and its potential is how vast the universe is and how many different non-force related things there are that if someone truly grasped their creativity, they could make some crazy stuff.
yeah,
Like imagine, this is really off the walls, but imagine a Star Wars show about a bunch of space whalers and all they do
That would be
they
so
go
fun.
around, they dip in and out of the unknown reaches looking for like those space whales.
The
That could be
Purgles.
interesting.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
That'd be wild.
tell me that wouldn't be awesome. It's just
Yeah.
simple stuff like that. It's like you don't have to have a crazy complex Sith
Yeah.
evil Jedi good
Doesn't have to be
story.
that
You can
long
just
either.
you just be like, hey, let's make a
Just be,
three-part miniseries about space whalers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah. I think that's kind of the
Yeah.
route it makes sense, obviously, why you wouldn't do this, but I thought that was kind of the route Disney was going to go when they got Star Wars, is they were going to just build out the world, because so much of those creative people have worked in the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And that's where we've got the games and the books and the audiobooks and the comics and all that stuff. And so I thought with Clone Wars having done okay, and with um, the fact that George Lucas made and produced like 3 seasons of an Underworld show that never got released.
Really?
But I think he
Oh,
made like
yeah.
multiple,
Yeah.
at least a whole first season of it,
Wow.
and had like 2 more he paid for or something. But it never got
Yeah.
released because of when Disney bought Star Wars. Something like that.
I think
could be a little off.
I think one of
but
the worst things Disney
like
could
I,
have ever
I
done
thought we
was
were gonna
get rid
get that
of-
kind of stuff when Disney got it.
Yeah.
Is they were gonna just build out the
Yeah.
world. Here's a show about these people and these people, and then eventually they'll make a new trilogy. But obviously,
I
you
really
buy
do
it and
think-
you try to make the most money possible.
Yeah.
So
The biggest mistake Disney made was getting rid of all the extended universe content. That's one of the worst things they did. Because they
Yeah.
just they gutted themselves. They had so much potential free content. And they just threw it away.
I understand
I
doing
can
that.
understand
in the
why
sense
they
of,
did it though.
Well,
What is that?
it's weird. It's weird because they years later said, "Oh, we just don't have enough like ideas to draw from to make new stories and stuff."
That's true.
And
They
I
did
was
say
like,
that.
"Have you
What?
looked at the EU? You've got so much
literally,
stuff." But
you
they
literally
did
uncanonized thousands of
So
ideas
many
and
stories.
stories.
Yeah, I think they did it in the sake of cleaning up everything and going, this is for sure what's canon, and then they would build their own
Yeah.
from there, and maybe grab some things, but which I guess is what they've done. But they've also too much made something and said this is canon, and then a show has replaced that. Like there's this great book called Master and Apprentice about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It's great. It's about the prophecy of the Chosen One. It's about the Dooku's Padawan before Qui-Gon. It's awesome. It's a great book. Um, there's a lot of flashbacks in it because Qui-Gon is trying to figure out. He's offered to join the Jedi Council, but he goes, man, I need to continue training Obi-Wan, and so he's trying to figure out how to teach Obi-Wan because there's a lot of struggle and they're not really seeing eye to eye. And he starts thinking back to the lessons with Dooku. And there are some flashbacks to when Dooku first started like force lightninging people, and he was like, "What do I do about this?" But anyway, the Tales of the Jedi, because of the way some of the stuff in there, decanonized that book, and
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Rebels. Not
Yeah.
Rebels. It was Bad
Tales.
Batch that decanonized the Kanan book.
Oh, yeah.
That they made, and and then the Ahsoka show decanonized the Ahsoka book, and so you've made these 3 books that people latched onto and really liked, and then and I think Dooku Jedi Lost was decanonized too. So you make
What
these
the
books
heck?
and say this is new canon, and then you start making shows, and you're just not even running with it. It's just odd.
It's silly.
It's unfortunate, but when it comes to Star Wars canon, I was going to bring this up later for my topic.
Let's just
this is
jump
great,
into it.
Nate, because
Let's
you
just
jumped
jump
into
your
this.
topic. Yeah.
When it comes to Star Wars canon, you can really only trust anything that's on a screen, whether it be a video game, within the last 6 years, a TV show or a movie, because all the comics and the books and audiobooks, because it's all the same thing, all those kind of are placeholders until somebody decides that they want to make a movie out of it, and then it just disappears, and then it's done for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Which is
too.
sad. It is. I mean, the Thrawn trilogy that they made for the new canon, which was written by the same guy who wrote the original Thrawn books from the old canon. I don't know how much of those new books hold up now that he's been in Ahsoka. How much of any of that stuff was carried over? Did they take any inspiration from those books? We don't know. Maybe those books just don't matter. And it's kind of sad because that's how it is with a lot of the books. And like you were saying, with Andor, they decanonized a comic about how he met K2 and some of Cassian's background so that they could do this season. They decanonized them. The Maul show coming out is going to decanonize, I think, a comic run about Crimson Dawn and all that stuff. What's the other one? I don't know. There was another one I was thinking about earlier. But it happens a lot, and it's kind of sad.
This would be a baller move from Disney. So you know how you have the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all that, right? Disney should just have two separate universes. Be like, this one is for the real Star Wars nerds. This one is for Disney. Just outright say it.
I don't think they would, though, because they're not going to see that as that would be less profitable, because there are going to be people that will go, I'm not going to buy this because
but then they'll just buy the other
it's not canon.
Yeah.
And
but then they'll buy the other one.
And if I knew Master and Apprentice was going to get decanonized, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it because
Really?
even though I do love that book, and I'm glad I love the relationship between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon is one of my favorite characters. But if I knew, I maybe wouldn't have bought that book. Now that's different with me getting Legend stuff when all of that was decanonized, because that's the Star Wars I grew up with. Is the pre-sequel the pre-Disney canon. And I like to see how things were back then. But yeah, I that's the only reason you don't, because I know Visions has done okay, but nothing Visions is canon. I don't think they haven't.
At the moment, there might be one
much
thing that might be turned into canon.
I don't know that it's given them too much success outside of a niche group.
I'm with you on that, Nate. I don't know if I would get a whole lot of stuff if I knew it didn't matter to the, the canon story. Marvel can get away with things like that because it all branches from comic books, and the idea of multiverse and different universes is.
I'm saying have two different stories that are both canon.
You're talking about the difference between, like, this is the Amazing Spider-Man continuity and the Ultimate Spider-Man continuity. They're canon to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that,
and
but
then
I still
you also
don't
give
think
yourself the potential for crossover.
But would they be happening in the same universe or in separate universe?
In the crossover, or what do you mean?
Mm-hmm. If it's going to be a crossover, because
if Star Wars ever does
when
multiverse, I'm out. I'm out, dude. I'm actually out. I can't do it anymore.
You're out. You wouldn't do that. Okay.
I don't know if I would do that either. I don't like multiverse stuff. I've never liked it. And especially like with time travel, they Rebels experimented with time travel. Not in like the typical time travel kind of sense, but the world between worlds kind of stuff. That was a little weird. And I don't think it flopped, but it still kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Even though it is kind of neat.
I don't know how to explain
it's not something I expected from Star Wars.
The way I'm thinking of, I guess. I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking.
I think the issue that I see with having the two, like, different universes, even with them being both canon, is we're dealing with Disney, and, like, they're money hungry. They just keep popping out sequels and fanfare, fan service. That's why we've got so much multiverse stuff. It was cool at first. Andrew and Toby coming back in Spider-Man was dope. Yeah. But now they're playing into it so heavy
because they saw this will give us success, right?
Yeah. And so no matter what, they're gonna pour money into what are gonna get people to come to theater. That's why, like, the movie industry, we don't see a lot of original movies. And when we do, they don't do very good in the box offices. But what does is sequels and prequels and spin-offs and things like that. As much as people will say, "Oh, I hate it. Everything's sequels now." We're still gonna go see it. And so the issue
Yeah.
becomes with having two different canon universes. One of them's gonna succeed and one of them's gonna fail, and the one that you love could get cut because it's just not bringing in the most money. And so I don't think we would ever. It's a cool idea, but I don't even think we would ever see something like that because I don't think Disney. I mean, who knows? Kathleen Kennedy's stepping down, so somebody new's going to come in,
Yeah.
whoever it's going to be, and hopefully it's someone fresh. I would be cool with like Dave Filoni, but I'd kind of like someone fresher than him, even honestly.
I wouldn't ever want
It
that
really
though.
should
He's the
be.
kind of guy he needs to be making stuff.
Yeah, I'd
He
agree
should.
with that.
I think it's even a mistake. I mean, as much as I like his vision for Star Wars, in that I very much am a fan of pre-Disney Star Wars. Because I grew up with The Force Unleashed, and I grew up with the prequels, and the books I like the most are Legends books, and the Clone Wars, and he worked with George Lucas for years
Yeah.
and years on the Clone Wars, so his vision is very similar to what I like for Star Wars. Is very similar to what I like from Star Wars, but so it's cool having him in the position he is now, where I think he's overseeing and still working in multiple projects. But I would just want to give that guy as much freedom as possible.
Yeah.
And just let him make stuff.
Just focus on the creativity of it all.
Yeah.
I think that's
Just
I think it's a fair
give
take.
him resources and give him opportunities and let him just go.
Cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Well put, Scott. Well put.
Do you want to jump into your topic, Scott?
Sure. Since
it's
we're
kind
talking
of
about
relevant.
canon, what canon would you want to change if you had one piece of canon? And I get, let's say, from the movies, anything that's been on a TV screen, so movies and TV shows. What is something that you would change?
So not
Whether or not that's to make something better or to change something that you think is worse or just something that you think would be cool. What do you guys?
and
do you guys
you're not
think?
saying like if we could even make something old canon again. You're just saying like, but what we've seen on screen, if we could.
I would
change
want
something,
them to
what would we
rewrite
change?
Luke Skywalker in the new prequel and the
Praise God.
sequels.
You might give me a hanky.
In the sequels, I want them to rewrite Luke Skywalker's character because in every I realize the canon changes, but like in every canon up to that point, Luke Skywalker was the Giga.
Wise. He was
He was
cool,
wise.
man.
Yeah.
He was really powerful. And then you see him in the new sequels, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm moping on a planet drinking blue milk." And you're like, "That's not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
What is this?"
See, I think
It was so bad that Mark Hamill hated it.
yeah, that's true.
That's true.
I don't have as much issue with like the hermit Luke Skywalker as I do the reason he is a hermit.
Yeah.
For him moping
that-
about, yeah, I don't like that.
I don't have an
That's
issue
not
with the
Luke
reason.
Skywalker.
I have an issue with the way they executed the reason. The way they
This
executed
is the
it,
same dude
I
who
think was
dueled
wrong.
Abeloth across the galaxy. You're telling me he's gonna mope in a corner? As one of
That's
his
not
disciples
canon anymore,
turns dead?
Brandon. That's expanded universe.
I don't care. It's canon in my head. Abeloth is awesome. Anyways, but you get my point.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I've got like a joke one and a serious one.
Let's hear them both.
boy.
My joke one is Darth Jar Jar. I need that to be a thing.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I need that to be a thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's such a terrible character. Let's redeem him by just like
You don't like Jar Jar?
absolutely not. That
Dude,
he's not
did
in
you
the
ever-
Oh, man.
Scott showed me this one time and it made me so sad. Did you ever see the comic of Jar Jar after the Clone Wars during
Yeah,
the Age
they
of the
have
Republic?
No.
a Force Awakens comic.
Jar Jar's
um,
life is so terrible.
It's so sad.
It's
Yeah.
so
Wow,
sad.
that's awful.
So
horrible.
after the Emperor came to power, all the people of Naboo turned on Jar Jar for giving him all the power. So he became essentially like a homeless juggler on the side of the road in Theed.
It's
Well, that's
And-
awful.
He only had like this one little boy who kind of was his friend, and then they would go on adventures together. But Jar Jar was just totally hated,
It's so sad.
and
That's
Yeah.
all right.
that's
well,
that's Jar Jar's life.
I never thought I could feel
After-
sympathy for Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I think they could have just done
Yeah.
the character better. I don't think he's necessarily a bad idea. I just think they could have done it better.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure
actually kind of like
in hindsight, but
they
you know
took
he.
the simple-mindedness of Jar Jar Binks, his like childlike innocence, and they show how Palpatine very clearly manipulated him.
That's
I
fair,
actually don't
yeah.
mind that bit.
I don't know why they made him a senator.
He's a representative.
That was their first mistake.
representative, Yeah.
I'm
They
pretty
just
sure
needed to make
I don't know
sure
how
he
he
was
got
still
there,
there.
to do with that.
You
Yeah.
know why? Because he's a Sith. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
perfect.
the
I
one.
agree. He's
your-
He's a Sith.
secretly
Oh my goodness,
Palpatine's
there's a
master.
spider.
Oh.
So
just
this
randomly
isn't
died.
canon, but Fortnite's doing a big Star Wars thing, and Darth
Oh,
Jar Jar is a skin you can get.
I
in
saw
Fortnite.
that.
Yo, it's on a
How did
screen.
that
It's
start?
canon.
How the heck
die.
did that get here? We
Oh,
didn't even
there
see
it is.
It's on a screen. It's canon.
I'll clean
Wow.
that later.
Did you get it, Nate?
Yep. What is that? Is that a brown recluse?
No. Oh yeah,
Oh.
you don't used to these
I'm
spiders,
not
are
used
you?
to these. I don't know how that
Nathaniel,
got
did
here.
you just see a potentially venomous spider and think, better smash it with my hand?
I used a shoe.
I would have smashed it with my hand. I would have protected you.
Thanks,
You're
Wes.
I'm from here though. I'm from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
See,
Alright.
we're from Alaska. We don't have anything.
don't have
venomous.
That's what
It's
I'm
so
figuring
We're
out.
the daddy long legs.
Scott,
Yeah, but
you
they're
like
not-
went full in Florida. That's terrifying.
Oh yeah. We've got snakes. We've got very large bugs here.
Scott isn't the only place
Um,
in the world that is even remotely near as scary as Australia.
That's the
Yeah,
Maybe.
outback.
Yeah, you get into the
Pretty much.
Everglades.
So what's your serious thing?
I'm staying
Oh.
away.
The ending of Rise of Skywalker. I think
Yeah.
that movie would. I mean, it's still bad, but I think if they wouldn't have had just that final
You're talking about the
What's your
line or the
name?
kiss?
Agree.
the line, I'll take even the kiss. I think that was awful, but I'll take that over her becoming a Skywalker. I think it would have been so much better
Oh.
if she would have stayed Palpatine and then like
Redeem the name.
redeemed the name.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that could have been they could have done more.
Or just do neither. Just be Rey
yeah,
and forge your own destiny.
yeah.
I think it's weird. It felt like that whole movie was about. It doesn't matter like where you came from. This is who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
even what the
she
ape was
throws that
about.
away.
Yeah.
It
And
seems
7.
off.
That's what the
Yeah.
whole all 3 are about. It's about that
There's a
theme.
baby crying in the background.
It's
Embracing
it's
your,
my
you
nephew.
know,
Yeah.
your
But
individuality or
but
whatever.
it's not letting what people say about you define you, right? It's about forging your own path, forging your own destiny. So I feel like that line at the end, I think it takes away from, maybe they're thinking, oh, this will kind of empower it. This will drive
Yeah.
the theme home, but I felt like it took away.
For sure. I do think that is an interesting thing that did well in the sequels. Like in a universe where the whole big twist is Luke, I am your father.
Mm-hmm.
In this whole time through the Force Awakens, you're like, who are her parents? Who are her parents? And then we learn in the Last Jedi, she's just a nobody.
Apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not. And then they course
Oh.
corrected because the Emperor's still alive. Now you're a Palpatine. I don't know. I
Should've
just
just kept it.
should have just kept it. Yeah, should have kept
Yeah.
the I'm a nobody, and then that would have kept the. I would have changed the.
Can I give a
Yeah, it's
runner-up to
powerful.
another thing I would rewrite?
Yeah, go for it.
I would also rewrite Palpatine should never have come back.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Somehow Palpatine returned. You could see the light leaving Oscar Isaac's eyes as he said that. Somehow
and
Palpatine
Snoke
returned.
just being a ton of clones.
He's
What
Oh.
the heck?
Bro, I don't know
He
how
seemed like a
they-
really
they
cool
came up
villain.
with this.
And the twist of him dying in 8, I
Yeah.
actually was like, oh man, they're gonna go somewhere with this I didn't
Yeah.
expect, and no.
It was
Nope.
interesting. I hated that he went so quickly because he seemed like such a man. There's just so much wasted potential. It's just so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
I even like there were
Yeah.
fan theories for a while about like, oh, what if Kylo switched to the Jedi and then Rey becomes the Sith? And I think that would have been a better story.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
I really because the Ben's
Nah, I got one problem with
the
that.
best
though,
part
'cause
about
then they would have
episode
had
9
to find a way to backpedal on how unnaturally powerful she was.
Yeah.
Like, think
maybe,
about
I
it.
don't know.
what I know, some people in this room hate this um, title, but she definitely had serious Mary Sue energy throughout those movies, and so you can't give her all the plot armor, superpowers, and Mary Sue energy in the world, and then make her a Sith. Then she would just kill everyone, right? Like,
I don't
Yeah,
have issue with
I
with
would.
her
I
being
don't
that
know.
way. I just think the biggest issue most people have that take that stance, Brandon, and I don't know if you feel this way, is
huh.
just we didn't see enough of her training.
Yeah.
But we didn't really see that with Luke either. I was comfortable enough with
Yeah, but
her
Luke didn't
using
just
that
come out of
staff a
nowhere and
little on Jakku,
immediately backhand
and
the main Sith villain
she
either.
used that staff on Jakku, and so I knew, okay, well, she can fight. Makes sense she can use a lightsaber.
Yeah.
The Force powers, her being able to just use the Force like crazy, does make me think.
Yeah.
That's why everyone was like, well, who's her parents? Because she's got to
Yeah. Has to have something.
some kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because if Anakin was literally immaculately conceived by the Force,
Yeah.
and Luke is really strong because of that, everyone's thinking, well, she's got to be related to some super powerful
Yeah.
person, right? Um,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think like we saw more of Luke's training. We have like half of a movie dedicated to it.
mhm. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of training that
We have
he
one of the
did
best songs ever made
in
that's a
that
result of
movie
it.
and between 5 and 6 that we didn't see.
That's true. I don't know. I think
Starting 9
we
with
got an
her having been
opening.
training was a really good idea.
It was, but it's all we got. But it's like Brandon was saying. We straight out the gate in the first one, she was like just kicking butt, and Luke, that didn't happen. We didn't even see Luke wield a lightsaber
Luke got his
until
hand chopped off and then kicked
Yeah.
down a
yeah.
like no, in the first movie he just got destroyed, got his hand chopped off, right? Or was that the second one?
That's an Empire. In the
The
first
second
one, we
one's
don't
an
even see
Empire.
him.
I
The
gotta
only
be-
time he
That's
wields
right,
a lightsaber
yeah.
is on Tatooine.
That's right. And when he's training with Obi-Wan in the ship, you're right.
Yep. Yeah. And so,
He just gets absolutely
and then he gets
does
destroyed
nothing.
in the
Yeah.
in Empire, and
yeah.
I love that
honestly,
fight, though.
let's
I really do.
kind of gets destroyed in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No.
kill Palpatine.
No.
I mean, he
Yeah.
cuts Vader's arm off, his hand off,
Yeah.
and
that's
then falls to the Emperor.
and that's kind of my
and then
point.
Vader has to
is
step
like
in.
But again,
unless
her,
things changed in canon, Luke is supposed to be like the strongest Jedi, right?
well,
in canon.
it's Anakin, but then Luke's like the runner-up in terms of good
Right.
guys.
So then
yeah.
for Rey, someone who no one's ever heard of before, to come out of nowhere and just all of a sudden do things that Luke couldn't even do. That was
Yeah.
kind of my point.
But my issue, if there is an issue, which I again, like, those movies aren't my favorite. I really think they could have executed them better. But I think her being able to fight is fine, because we never saw Luke swinging around a cool staff or whatever like we saw Rey. So we knew Rey could
Yeah.
fight. We knew she could
Yeah.
defend herself. Her being able to fight, I'm okay with. It's the Force powers where you go,
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
she
saying.
must
yeah.
be
Yeah.
really powerful to be able to grasp it that easily.
Yeah, the Force. But even
It was
with
cool.
It was
cool in 7.
But even with the fighting, like, she's not gonna be able to fight a trained Sith. Like,
Yeah. You'd think
mean,
that
whatever
the person who
little bit
Luke
she's done on
Skywalker's
Jakku.
trained is going to kick a
yeah,
little more
yeah,
butt
for sure.
than,
Yeah. I mean, Luke Skywalker's in his formative years of becoming a Jedi. His main like antagonist was Anakin Skywalker using all of his rage and anger, turned evil. And so to see, I mean, what's she gonna fight on Jakku? A couple of stormtroopers, maybe somebody who's
some
tried to steal
other-
from her.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And so she had some of
So
that.
she
like,
hasn't
combat.
fought
But yeah, she didn't have
a
any
Sith, haven't
anything
trained
like that.
sword
Yeah.
fighting, right? You
This is just a non sequitur, but
and it's
who
weird.
fought the most Sith and lived? Just saying.
Ahsoka.
That was a joke for Nathaniel. That was a joke for Nathaniel.
Listen, I love Obi-Wan, okay? But all right.
I think Ahsoka's fought more than Obi-Wan at this point.
Has she?
Yeah.
She fought Vader.
She fought Maul. She
She
fought
fought.
Grievous isn't a Sith, but she fought Grievous.
Uh,
She fought Vader.
did she ever fight Dooku?
Um, Probably.
Did she
I don't
fight
know if it was
Asajj?
very long. She fought
Yeah, she
Ventress
fought Asajj.
multiple times.
Okay.
She
She
fought
fought
Inquisitors.
the 2 Jedi from Ahsoka. She fought the
Those guys are not
Inquisitors.
Sith. If Grievous
Yeah,
is not a
but-
Sith, they're not Sith.
Then do we not count
Oh.
the Inquisitors? Are we just counting Sith Lords? 'Cause
Well,
at that
no,
point,
I didn't say
she's
Lord. I
fought
said
2.
Sith.
Well, Asajj Ventress doesn't count then. She's a Dark Jedi, not a Sith.
Yeah.
Is she a Dark Jedi?
Yep.
Dark Jedi.
Does she use the
assassin,
dark side of the
something like that.
Force as her? When I
Yeah,
say
but so did
okay,
Anakin. I mean, it's just so did Mace Windu. Mace
Yeah.
Windu used the dark side of the Force.
so he's a Sith. Got it. No.
All right, I want to know what Scott's thing is. What canon he would change.
Oh
Let's hear
boy. You ready? This is big.
Big.
I just changed the way that Ahsoka looks after Clone Wars. Like the way that she looks in Rebels is fine, but when you get to Ahsoka, she looks totally different.
She put on like 50 pounds of muscle.
Well, no, I mean like her head tails, they're just like super short when they're supposed to be longer. It's like you don't
No,
get a
yeah.
haircut.
It's heavy,
That's not how
though.
that happened.
That's why they can't make it long, is because it's really
Right,
heavy.
I understand, but
No, there's got to be ways you can make it light. There's this prop guy I
you
see
can,
on
you
like
can figure
Instagram
it out.
and all that stuff all
Movie
the time.
magic.
It's
Yeah.
part of the awkwardness of adapting an animated character to live, which I feel like they did
They
really
did-
well with Hera and Sabine and Ezra
Yeah.
and
But
Thrawn.
you in the Clone Wars, you have that Mortis arc where Ahsoka sees her future ghost or whatever, and she looks totally different than Ahsoka looks in Rebels, which it wasn't a great design. I don't think either her or her Rebels design necessarily look great, but I don't know. You can make her look like she's supposed to be an older figure from that race. I mean, they're supposed to have longer head tails. That's kind of one of my only things. I'm generally pretty good with the rest of the canon. I agree with Wes. I agree with you. And who said what about the Luke and the Hermit? Was that Brandon?
It's
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Those are
I have no
those
problem
are
with him being a hermit.
things that I would love to change. But for me, it's the little things. It's the little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to be confirmed that Rex was on Endor with Han Solo.
It was. They've done that. Dave Filoni
Is
said
it
that.
is it confirmed?
It's not.
Is it, oh man.
He said
Okay,
he
well,
said basically
great.
like it's not the guy from that clip in episode 9 with the big beard that everyone says, what if that could be Rex? Could you retroactively make that Rex? Like they retroactively said Yoda's blanket was Qui-Gon's robe. I love that.
I didn't
did
know
you
that.
not know
Oh,
that?
No.
That's a
Interesting.
retroactive thing.
That's
Is
cool.
That Yoda being
Oh,
all
that was a really cool-
sentimental. but
Wow.
Wow.
but
Yoda could get away with it.
instead of saying that, oh, the guy with the beard must have been Rex, they've said like, hey, if you want it to be, sure, but no, Rex was there, but he's not that guy. But Rex would have been on Endor somewhere, fighting with the
cool.
rebels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. What I
what-
would change. What are you saying, Scott?
I was just gonna say one of my other things that I would change was keeping Cara Dune around in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
She's cool.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it.
a
Your
can
turn,
of
Nate.
worms. But, we won't jump
Yeah.
into that can of worms.
I know.
Yeah. So with episode 8, and I used to not feel this way, but I would actually keep what they did with Luke. The idea of it. I still would have wanted it to be executed better.
Okay.
But having Luke, I mean, he's supposed to be this paragon of hope, right? The idea is that everything he went through with 4, 5, and 6, him overcoming Vader, it's his arc's supposed to be complete. He's supposed to be a complete character. So it doesn't make sense that when he senses the dark side in his nephew, he immediately goes, I need to kill him.
Right.
Rather than going, after he hasn't done anything, when he was able to look at his dad, who had murdered kids and murdered his friends, and say, there's good in you. I'm
Yeah.
not going to fight you. Yet he sees his nephew and goes, I need to kill him. Like, I
I
understand
need
why
to
Mark
murder
Hamill
this child.
was,
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
historically upset with that. Like, they could have navigated that better for sure.
Yeah.
And they do kind of explain it. They say, he goes, it was just a thought, just an instant thought, and I had the lightsaber out, and then he goes to like put it away, and he says, but by the time I realized what I had done, just with him having thought that, him having drawn the lightsaber, that was just a few seconds. Ben woke up, crashed the thing, all that stuff, right? Yeah. So I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense. I still think he wouldn't ever go that far. Like, when did he get that scared? When did Luke have that much fear in him? But that's part of the arc. Even though I would have wanted it to be written different, I don't know how. I'm not a professional, but I think, and this is something Dad pointed out to me, because Dad's very wise. He's very wise.
That's right.
He
He's
said,
He has his moments.
for a lot of people, they wanted to see super powerful Luke Skywalker, right? They wanted to see their hero from their childhood kick butt. And they kind of got to see that at the end of 8. And I really wanted to see superhero Luke Skywalker. I think my dad wanted to see that too. We've talked about how he's like, man, it would have been cool if he had done this and done this. But what about the people that aren't doing well?
Mm-hmm.
What about the people who had Luke Skywalker had been their hero and had inspired them, but as they've grown up, and for the 40-year-olds, the 40, 50, 60-year-olds who had seen the original movies, who are now going to see that, who aren't doing well, who need inspiration to push through what they're going through and get back up again and choose to do the right thing again. That's who that character is written for. And I think that is more important, trying to inspire someone in that way, than just having some cool flashy effects. Now, that being said, maybe I would have taken the cool flashy effects, but I appreciate what they were trying to do. I do. I really do. But in terms of what I would change, above all, there's Scott's cat. Above all, episode 9. Yeah, just run with it. My goodness. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Duel of Fate script.
No.
So the original script for episode 9 was written by Colin Trevorrow.
Okay.
It was finished. It was finished and like sent into Disney pretty much like 17 days before Carrie Fisher died.
Oh.
And she was a huge part of
Yeah.
it. So that's why they went, we can't make this. And they panicked and they had JJ throw together episode 9.
Yeah.
Rather than this complete thing they had. But I've seen and heard and read a lot of that script. Kylo, it set up Kylo to be this huge bad guy. It had kind of all these Mortis connections. The little bit of tension, romantic tension between Rey and Poe at the end of 8. They were actually an item in episode 9. It was going to open up on like a space station, and Rey was going to be like in a Tusken Raider outfit, and there was going to be this whole operation they were doing, and it was kind of going to be two teams, one Rey going to stop Kylo and the other on Coruscant trying to stop the First Order, and they were going to address the whole like First Order clone brainwashing thing from episode 7, how like Finn snapped out of the brainwashing and realized I can't do this.
Yeah.
It was going to be, I mean, I really think that if that movie had been made, it'd be my second or third favorite Star Wars movie. I mean, it would have been so good. So what I would have done is just, I know this is hard, but either you recast Princess Leia or you just rewrite it a little bit.
I think the fans would have understood
But
recasting Princess Leia
I do
because
too.
of Carrie Fisher's death. I think they really underestimated the fact that, look, we're not heartless monsters. We know people die. It's very sad.
I
We're
think
not gonna,
something
hold those.
Solo
I don't know.
proved is that with having both Lando and Han in that being played by different people, I think something that Solo proved is that the characters of Star Wars are so big that they have gone beyond their actors at this point.
Yeah.
They're an idea. They become an idea more than just, oh man, Harrison Ford is great, right? I think they could have gotten away with a recast. I don't know who. I don't know how it would have gone. I don't know if they would have done a good job. But
Betty White.
man, just be bold. Just like if whenever you're making anything, just be bold. And I wish they had just done that with Episode 9. It would make. I've come to terms with Episode 8. I used to really not like it. There's some things about it I do really like now and still really don't like. Um, but 9, I just feel, man, why would you not just go with the thing? It was critically successful and financially successful too. Why not continue the thing that was critically and financially successful? Why do you have to make this thing that wasn't very well received because you tried to play it safe?
Yeah.
Somehow Palpatine returned. My goodness.
I think the rewrite, because Brandon, you were saying like you think people would have understood about like recasting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the rewrite would have been the better choice if they were going to do it. I think people, for the most part, they understand, but characters like that they hold, though they've transcended,
Mm-hmm.
like Solo, it's about a younger Han Solo, and so we can't
Okay.
get Harrison
Yeah.
Ford. You know, and we're not going to do a whole movie where it was like what they did with Rogue One,
Mhm.
where they used like CG to de-age Carrie Fisher, and
They could nowadays, but
They
back
could-
then that was not.
they
And they
could, but
couldn't
I
even
don't
do
know
it
if it
very
would
well
be-
nowadays.
Yeah.
I still
so I
deepfaking
think
is
the
weird.
the recast would have been sketchy. I think it would have been really difficult because like, what if they would have recast? Let's take Nolan in the Dark Knight trilogy. Heath Ledger, Joker, was supposed to be a huge portion of the Dark Knight Rises,
yeah.
but he died,
Mhm.
and nobody's
Oh, I
going to
didn't
play
know
that
that.
character. And if they would have recast him, I think it would have been outrage. I think it would have been he
was
won an
smart
Oscar.
to not do that.
Yeah, and I think though people love the character, they love the character because the actor did so well portraying it.
Mhm.
And so if you're gonna do like a younger version where Carrie Fisher is old now, she can't do a younger
Could use
version.
her,
That's
her
a different
daughter or
thing.
something, right?
But yeah, but in the moment, in the midst of a trilogy, this beloved actress for this like crazy franchise, and just knowing how crazy Star Wars fans are, if you're gonna just recast her in the middle of it just to fit a script, I think it would have been poorly. You
yeah,
could even look at
I
Chadwick
didn't think
Boseman
about that.
and the Black Panther. Rather than recast him and get a new
They-
Black Panther,
they
they just
wrote-
passed the mantle down to
Mhm.
Shuri.
Which was smart.
Yeah, and I think they do it out of respect for the actor or the actress, and I think the fans would appreciate it more. I think it's a good like tip of the hat from the company or the studio
Yeah.
to say we recognize how much you guys loved this character and this actress who portrayed this character. Let's give her a good send off, better than what they did in Rise of Skywalker, and
Yeah.
and just rewrite that script. I think that could have been great. I think it would have
Yeah.
been really cool.
I think I didn't even think about it like that because we had actually just had 2 movies with her. It's different
Yeah.
if it had been 30 years and they're like, okay, let's make
Yeah.
sequels and we can't use her anymore, right?
Yeah, I
That's
think
different,
I
but
still think Star Wars fans would have revolted, but
I probably,
Star Wars
but
fans will
I
revolt.
think nowadays,
yeah,
they
It's
would.
like
But back
Philadelphia with
then,
the Super Bowl. We won.
I-
Flipped the crown upside down.
I think everyone would have been a little more hopeful and supportive back then. I could
Maybe.
imagine everyone being, but nowadays, yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Phew. Oh, that would not be good. Yeah, it's this, and from the story, it's not like they couldn't have rewritten it. I think they could have done okay. If I don't know if have you seen the new Star Trek trilogy with Chris Pine?
yeah. I've seen a couple of them. I don't think I've watched all of them. though.
Okay, so they opened the third one, basically going, hey, because Leonard Nimoy had died, they went, hey,
Yeah.
old Spock is dead.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they opened the third one.
Okay.
It's in there.
Yeah.
In the first 20 minutes or whatever. They really. That might have been in the second one actually. One of the two, either in the
it was in the
second or the
third
third one. They go, old Spock died.
Yeah.
they could have done that with Carrie Fisher. Hey, Princess Leia died, and just have it be this moment of honoring her legacy, kind of this moment of silence, this moment of appreciation from the characters. You know that line C-3PO gives in episode 9 where he says like I'm taking a minute to look at my friends one last time before they
Yeah.
do that, like deactivate him.
Yeah.
Like that's a great line from C-3PO.
Yeah.
But the problem is that wasn't earned because we had not seen 3PO really interact with any of them at all.
Yeah.
So, but having him say that
he's a
something
droid.
like that about a dead Princess Leia
Yeah.
would have worked fine.
Yeah.
Better than trying to have her be in the movie through clips and this weird nondescript death. Why is she doing this? Yeah. All right. Brandon, let's jump into your topic.
All right, mine's a lot more lighthearted.
We need some of that.
Are you guys ready for this? Take every lightsaber user in all of the films, in all of the cartoons, and everything. Remove force powers from the equation. Throw them into a massive battle royale. Who's coming out? Now, Nathaniel expects me to say Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know that's not true.
I do expect it.
It's not true, because although he is the master of defensive form, I can acknowledge that he is not the best duelist in the galaxy. That goes, generally, I'd say to someone like Dooku. But now here's my point why
Or,
Dooku wouldn't win. Because everyone else knows Dooku. They know how dangerous he is. They're going to mob him.
It's such a weird scenario. So no force powers at all. Does that mean
You can
so
use
it's just purely
the
lightsaber
force
skills?
So it's lightsaber skill. You can obviously use like force speed, anything that is a physical force power that helps your lightsaber skills specifically.
But you're not talking about.
But when I say no
lightning.
force powers, like no force lightning, no force push, nothing like that.
Okay. So my question would be Mace Windu. Part of his fighting style is when fighting Sith, he draws their dark side energy to enhance his own strength. Like he basically feeds off
Does
of
it
it.
enhance his lightsaber dueling? Like, does it enhance his dueling
I
skill?
think so. Yeah.
Then yes, it's
Okay.
allowed.
Because he's the whole
Also
thing
knowing
is
that
as
will not
powerful
help
as
him
Master
against
Windu,
other Jedis.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't help him against, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No.
That's a hard question.
For me, the question is this: staying power. Who is going to be able to have the stamina to not get exhausted? Yoda would get exhausted very quickly.
Yeah.
Because his
and some of
primary
that's because
form of lightsaber
yeah.
combat is jumping around, athleticism.
Yeah. Ataru is very
constantness.
energy draining. That's what Qui-Gon used, and that's why he ran out of energy.
Yeah.
Old men have to use it because it enhances their physical form, but it drains their energy because it takes a lot of force power. So guys like
Now,
Qui-Gon
again-
and Yoda don't expect to be in combat for a long time.
But again, I don't think Obi-Wan would win, but that's where he has an edge over most of them because his lightsaber form is about endurance.
And he's not used to relying on that anyway. On extra force power because he's pretty weak in that regard.
Was he though?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it comes down
He
to
had a low.
It was like
he was
10,000
on the low end of the spectrum. Yeah.
when
it comes
Anakin's
down
like
to-
27,000.
lightsaber prowess alone. How many could take on Grievous?
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, obviously. I think Obi-Wan would be busy
Okay.
getting his cheeks clapped. by
So here's
Dooku.
the
me
thing
say
with
something.
Grievous though is, okay, go for it, Nate.
Brandon said cartoons as well. If we are talking Clone Wars
boy.
micro series Grievous,
We're
that
talking
guy,
about Genndy
that
Tartakovsky.
guy is going to clean house. He's not going to win, but I
Wait a
think
minute.
he has much better of a chance than
minute.
movie or Clone Wars Grievous.
By that logic, Nathaniel, we're gonna have 3 different versions of General Grievous in there.
Because
We're
if
gonna
you
have
want to know
both
who I
Clone
think
Wars
wins this
and
fight,
the live action.
the person who wins this fight is Micro Series Mace Windu, who punched an army of super
Yeah.
battle droids to death. That's who wins.
That's right.
There you go.
But it's a cart. But you try to put that guy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
Yeah, but
But-
that was all of his force powers he did that with.
yeah, to enhance his fighting, right, Brandon?
Yeah, but is he gonna punch a lightsaber?
No,
Yeah.
but I'm
Mace
just
Windu,
saying
he would do
that
it.
that Mace Windu is nuts compared to
Huh.
anything else we've seen from him.
It's hilarious.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Uh,
That's a tough question.
Are we? All right.
It is-
Brett, are we putting the rules in here? Are we counting the Gendy Tartakovsky Clone Wars?
Are we
this
saying
a
only
thing?
one of every character?
One version of each character, yeah. Let's go with that. Because if you have 3 different General Grievuses, they're just gonna all gang up together, hide in the corner, and spin.
So let's then when there are multiple versions, let's default to what we've seen on film
The Clone
being
Wars
the
or the
highest.
movies. Yeah.
Film being the highest,
So do
Clone
we
Wars
just-
being the second, Micro Series being third.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
So we would get the live-action Grievous.
So with Grievous, what I as far as I understand about the Jedi and using all the Force, the Jedi have to use the Force for dueling. It's there's a level of foresight and prescience that goes into being able to understand what their foe is going to do next. Grievous doesn't have that, which is why having 4 lightsabers really helps him out, because he can't foresee what his opponent is going to do. That has to fall onto warrior instinct, and he's a warlord before he became General Grievous. I guess he's
He's
still a warlord.
also more robot than man, so he's unnaturally
Yeah, he's a
fast reaction.
cyborg. But
Really fast reaction
how many times do
yeah.
we watch General Grievous go on the defensive? He has to rely on aggression to keep
That's true.
people on their toes, and that's how he wins. He's got 4 lightsabers, and if one person has 1, they're trying to dodge all 4 of those things, and he's got tricks up his sleeve still.
Real talk,
Um,
I think someone like Savage Opress, that I'm not saying that right, am I?
Savage.
Yeah.
Savage.
Savage Opress would actually have a good chance because it'd be brute force versus brute force.
Yeah.
We're
Maybe.
talking just against Grievous
mean-
at this point?
Yeah.
But if we
I
but
think
the-
he'd have a
the
better time if
point
he had
still
Maul
stands.
with him.
Obi-Wan could beat Grievous, couldn't he? Still,
This
Yeah.
is actually going to blow your mind.
because he
I
didn't
think
have to
Maul
rely
comes
on
out at the
really
end.
force powers.
That's what I was thinking, Brandon. I was thinking.
I think
was
Maul
gonna
would come out at the end because he's so
Really?
backhanded and sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maul is his character. Think about it. He's not stupid. He is very confident. He's very competent. He is going to let everyone else fight to the death, and he is going to pick off anyone on the outskirts and just try and stay low.
But wouldn't the
I didn't
Emperor
think
try and
we're-
do the same
to know
thing?
We're thinking about the theoreticals
Dude.
of this now.
Just like, just like.
how would they actually fight though? Okay.
Oh no, Maul is a better skilled duelist
So
than most.
here's why Maul
But
is so
also,
good.
the Emperor's gonna have his hands full with everyone else who hates him. You know,
Yeah.
he's not gonna have time to think about Maul. He's gonna have his hands full with, oh crap, the entire Jedi Order wants revenge.
Maul is really good because he uses the 7th lightsaber form called Juyo or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway,
Isn't
that's
that the same one
mostly
that-
that's mostly the Sith
Windu
lightsaber
uses?
form. Nobody uses it except for Windu, and Windu uses a variant called Vapod. So, 7, the 7th lightsaber form. If any of the other Jedi have learned one, it's 1 to 6. Like Syndrellic could be a great choice in this. He's old.
Ooh.
He's old, so he'd run out of
Ooh.
energy and he'd lose eventually, like Yoda or Qui-Gon. But Syndrellic knows he's the guy who taught every Jedi how to fight. He's the master of every lightsaber form. He was the
Yeah.
Jedi Temple's lightsaber teacher,
Okay.
pretty much. So he was played by the guy who did all this, like the stunt choreography for the prequels.
Oh,
It was
really?
Oh,
cool.
really?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, that's so
It
cool.
was kind of funny, but But the 7th form of lightsaber fighting is made to counteract the other Jedi forms. So that's why people would have such a hard time fighting Darth Maul. Also, the 2nd lightsaber blade is unpredictable. People aren't used to fighting that. But I still think you would have to, even if he wasn't using Force Lightning, Palpatine canonically has mastered all 7 forms.
Oh wow.
And you give that guy both his lightsabers and all 7 forms, and he might kick butt.
Yeah. I guess
But
it
again, I
depends
go
on when
back
you get
to-
Palpatine in there. Like, are we talking prequels
Emperor-
Palpatine or like like original
We'll go with Revenge of the
trilogy?
Sith.
No, let's
Make
get
it
the one
fair.
from Episode 9. Just
They're
attached to the big
machines.
machine.
They come in there like
He's
Stephen
got
Hawking.
3 fingers and he's all degraded, deformed.
Let's go with Episode 3. And I'm
Okay.
willing to give him his best chance because even episode 3, when he's at his best dueling wise, I think he would lose simply because he's a threat and everyone else there knows it.
Mace Windu's still there.
Which Mace
Yeah.
Windu would have won. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been.
What a crazy thought. How
Yeah.
different that could have gone if Anakin was just like,
You know,
I
Revenge
saw
of the
I
Sith
saw a
is
really
a good
funny
movie.
meme actually. I saw a really funny meme. It's when Anakin goes, "It's not the Jedi way to kill him," and the meme cuts off there and it goes Windu talking to Anakin. Tell you what, you overlook the Jedi way this one time, and I'll overlook one of the rules you've broken.
which one?
That was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just cuts to Anakin going, "Done.
Done.
I married Padme." And then Windu going, "What?"
The thing about I
just
don't
broke
remember
your
what I was gonna say. It was relevant. It was relevant to the conversation.
On top of lightsaber skill alone,
Palpatine.
you have to take into account the behavior and character of each of the combatants, right? That's the only reason I think Maul would win, not
Yeah.
because he's the single best duelist, but because he's conniving and will do anything he needs to live.
Yeah, compared to like someone who's been raised in the Jedi like ways and trained in the Jedi Temple and all that stuff, they're gonna be more, I guess, honorable. You could say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of honor to lightsaber combat.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lot like
it's like
the
a dance. There's
samurai
a-
or something.
Yeah, they've got a code,
Yeah.
and that's normally respected unless you have Palpatine or Maul.
Right.
Ooh,
But even
actually super
But even
unorthodox for
Dooku
the Jedi
was
Ahsoka.
honorable with that kind of stuff, right?
Wasn't Dooku widely considered like the best duelist? Period.
It would.
He was good. He's good, that's for sure.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know if
where
he's
it
the
states this,
best.
and I might be wrong, but I think it says somewhere that Count Dooku and Mace Windu were the only two Jedi that could ever have beaten Yoda in a sparring match.
I think
But
that
there's
might be
also a
true.
source out there that says that Plo Koon is the only one who could beat Yoda in a sparring match, just lightsabers. So, maybe.
The thing about Dooku, he uses the curved hilt because it's
Yeah.
everyone's used to practicing against straight hilts, and there's that extra thing they have to focus on is the difference in blocking, and so he's able to cut off hands really easy.
Interesting.
So he would fare pretty well, but again, he's old. He's old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Dooku's lightsaber style didn't require him to, like, it was much more classical fencing style. So
Kinda
he
like
didn't
Ben.
exert himself a lot when he fought either.
Yeah, but still,
Dooku's style
eventually
is-
he's gonna run out of energy. If Yoda is, if Syndralic is, what I'm just trying to figure is when is it not, I guess Maul, because yeah, he'd probably serve pretty well. When is it? Well, here's the deal. Here's why Maul wouldn't serve well. I feel like all my Star Wars knowledge has been just for this conversation, because I
It's fun
find
sitting
lightsaber
here.
forms
I
so
don't have to
interesting.
say a whole lot because I
Um,
can let you guys talk, and I'm just like, yeah.
Anakin,
He's right.
Anakin
Oh, that's
practiced.
a good point. Oh, yeah, that's another good point.
Anakin practiced all the time and mastered fighting a Maul training like simulation.
Did Anakin ever get to fight Maul?
No, but I'm telling you, if he would have, the fact that he'd been fighting against that training sim since he was like 12,
It would have been over.
it would have been
Yeah.
over. That's why it's one of those things added after the fact, right? But him trying to beat Obi-Wan with the same move he used it on Maul is such hubris. Because he
Oh,
goes,
absolutely.
I'm better. I would have been
yeah.
better against him than you were.
Yeah.
So if Anakin takes out Maul, or even Obi-Wan, like he did,
Both
twice.
of them are very capable.
Why is Anakin not winning this? If he's able to use the Force
Yeah.
to enhance his lightsaber combat, still, why is he not winning this? Who else is
Because
gonna win?
again, there's like hundreds of combatants in there, and Anakin is a known threat. You got to think like the top 5 best duelists are going to get mobbed.
So you're saying this is but
See,
dude, he
we
took
have to be
no.
thinking about
Here's
this.
why this is fine. He took on the whole Jedi Temple.
It's just a bunch of kids, man.
There, Sindrelic was there, dude. Like there was,
Order
there
66.
No, yeah.
there was real Jedi.
Yeah,
He also
The-
had the entirety of the 501st at his back.
I know,
Yeah.
but we see
just
hologram
get the
footage of
Inquisitors to
him
back him up.
choking someone out while fighting 2 people at the same time with
Yeah.
1 hand. That's what this guy was capable of.
Yeah, but
think
those were
that's fair.
plebs. These aren't Jedi masters.
Sindrelic, dude. The guy who taught. Who taught.
I'm just trying to tilt Nathaniel at this point.
Okay, that's what I was telling you
Oh,
about.
that's hilarious.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm just messing with you.
so is this there can only be one winner? Because if that's the case,
Fortnite, yes.
okay, so they're making these alliances and then they're breaking them, or
That's I don't know. Yeah,
what
it's dependent
happens.
on the character of the individual combatants. Yeah.
All the Sith are going to be conniving with each other.
and I feel like there's a bunch of Jedi who go, "I'm gonna help you." Like I can imagine Shak Ti teaming up with someone and going, "I'm gonna help you," but at the end,
Yeah.
I'll sacrifice myself.
Here's
You're
another
good.
question: do we get just Anakin, or just Darth Vader, or do we get Anakin and Darth Vader?
Oh, they're basically 2 different characters. I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
No, I think we get both. I want to see Anakin fight Darth Vader. That'd be sick.
He'd win.
Probably. Yeah.
He would win.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because in
Although
Darth
Vader would have the Inquisitors at his side.
do you think the Inquisitors would stay loyal, knowing they have a chance to get rid of him?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Inquisitors,
yeah.
all the
They know.
Inquisitors couldn't even beat Vader.
Well, here's my
Yeah.
why would Anakin win over Vader just instantly?
He's
Mobility.
stronger. He's faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not
I
physically
think that's
stronger.
the only thing I can think of.
He's not
Well-
physically stronger.
Well, actually, Darth Vader
right.
did like 1v10 a bunch
That's true.
of Jedi
Yeah.
that were hiding
Yeah.
out.
The thing
Darth
is-
Vader is scary. That's his
Yeah,
big
that's
weapon.
see, that's the thing. We haven't seen a
Yeah.
whole lot of Darth Vader. We're seeing it now,
We've seen it in comics, but
and in comics, but like
he's metal in comics.
if we're talking about solely film, we've only seen
Him fight old men.
old men, and then we got a good glimpse of it in Rogue One and the Obi-Wan series. Other than that, we've not really seen it to his full potential, and we're talking about the like baddest of the baddest
Prime
Jedi.
Darth Vader.
Prime, yeah, and now
Yeah.
he's. I don't know. I think Darth Vader comes out on top, honestly.
I'm
Of the
gonna agree
entire
with
thing.
you, dude. I'm gonna
I
agree
think
with
so.
you with him beating Anakin at least, because the Darth Vader lost a lot of his midichlorians when he had his limbs cut off, because there were midichlorians in those limbs. But
I never thought
yeah,
about
if
that.
you haven't heard
once
about
in
that,
my
that's a
life.
real thing.
No,
So
that's
he's not as
crazy.
strong
Darth
with
Vader
the
is
Force.
actually weaker in the Force than.
Okay, see, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he
That-
stopped
that's why I
having
think it'd
he
be
stopped having
Anakin.
like Force streams when he became Darth Vader.
Okay.
Because he lost so many midichlorians. So he was
seems
still
insane.
powerful,
That seems
still
ridiculous.
more powerful than most people.
Yeah.
But he still was not.
He can
Anakin
still stop
powerful.
a starship. casually.
Yeah.
He could still just But when he became Darth Vader, he had to learn. I mean, it's like someone who has serious trauma to one of their limbs and has to go through the physical therapy to be able to use it. He had to relearn how to walk. He had to relearn how to use every bit of this. He had to relearn how to fight completely
Yeah.
because he lost all his muscle memory. And I think that guy is going, okay, I can learn everything all over again.
Mhm.
1 and 2, he knows how he used to fight. I think he beats Anakin. I think he beats
Can I give a hard counter,
most
though?
people.
I think Obi-Wan in the prime of the Clone Wars beats Darth Vader, though.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Because he beat him in the show. Oh,
Not
man.
only that, he also didn't George Lucas say like he could have defeated Darth Vader in their one duel on the Death
Yeah,
Star?
he was
New
more
Hope.
powerful. He was more powerful. He was
Yeah.
a 6 and
I
Vader
do
was a
remember
4.
that.
Yeah. He had
Yeah.
he had numbers for everyone.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, Darth Vader may kill Anakin just because Darth Vader is more brutal, but like, Obi-Wan, in one-on-one combat with no Force powers, I think Obi-Wan beats everyone except for like 3 people.
Dude, it might actually be Obi-Wan though, because those 3 people,
If he
one of
gets
those
to the
people
end,
is
yes.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
And let's say, crap, Brandon, you might be,
If
it might actually
Obi-Wan
be
gets to
Obi-Wan.
the end, he wins.
If
But if he
everyone's
doesn't get to
ganging
the-
up on Palpatine, that's the one
Yeah.
guy Obi-Wan can't beat.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. It's the one guy Palpatine can't beat. I mean, Obi-Wan can't beat Palpatine. So
To be fair, he never
if
got
everyone
a try.
gangs up on Palpatine, well, Yoda says, "Dude," Yoda. Remember, Yoda goes. Obi-Wan goes, "I don't want to go fight Anakin. Let's switch." And Yoda goes, "No, you'll die." Like it's not. Oh,
To
sorry.
be fair, though, Palpatine had his force powers there.
Oh yeah, we gotta keep.
Oh,
People don't
dude.
got their force.
Obi-Wan wins.
Does he have the twirly
In a one-on-one Obi-Wan.
death
But-
lightsaber
but
death
again,
thing?
But Palpatine still mastered all 7 lightsaber forms. He knows Form 3.
it would be, but again, it would come down to it would come down to stamina, like you say. Can Palpatine out stamina Obi-Wan?
What if it's someone random, like Quinlan Voss?
That would be
And
hilarious.
he just survives.
That's what I'm saying. None of you guys are taking that into account. Like, there's going to be some absolute gremlins who just run to the corner of the arena like Hunger Games and don't fight.
Hit Fisto.
They wait till the end and then everyone dies.
I
and
mean,
then they
Plo
kill the
Koon
last
might
dude
still
who's
be
exhausted.
alive. They've almost brought Plo Koon. English. They've almost
Koon.
brought Plo Koon back into canon multiple times. So even if
Yeah.
he dies, he might
Yeah.
still be alive. Who knows? Like he might win.
I don't know. I think we got to take out anybody who just instantly gets murked by all the
Uh-huh.
clones, just
Okay.
without any chance.
Okay.
Well,
Like-
most of those guys died to the clones super easy because it was a sneak attack. They weren't ready for
But they
it.
Plo
would. They
Koon-
maybe felt it, right?
I
That's what-
agree.
I mean,
I definitely agree because I think trying to think about all 10,000 Jedi in the Order at one time, that's confusing. That's hard.
that's a lot.
Plus other.
There's
characters.
probably like
Let's
just
go
one
with
gremlin.
that. Yeah, it's Quinlan Voss.
another
Dude,
another.
There's an
interesting
entire
guy.
like series where Quinlan Voss went like Rambo for a bit and went solo and was wanted by both the Jedi and the Sith, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's not canon
he's a G.
anymore, but it was a thing.
Well, they've done. Isn't this the new show they released with
Brandon, I'm
Ventress?
tilting
I think
you.
They did some Quinlan
little
Voss
bit.
stuff. Because he and
Oh
Quinlan
my
Voss
goodness.
and Ventress, I think, had a romance.
By the way,
I don't
we're
I think
leaving
they told.
How
I
out.
much
think they
of
told
that has
that in the
been-
new show. They did
Yeah.
the new show. So
I
By the way,
don't know.
we
seen
left
it,
out. Are we just gonna ignore Luke Skywalker? Is he just a no chance?
I think he's pretty good,
That
but
bad?
he's.
I think Obi-Wan still beats him.
Oh,
Yeah, I think-
well,
I think, especially without the force power, because even though Luke did train with the lightsaber, I mean, there wasn't.
it wasn't
Yeah.
his main weapon.
Yeah,
If
and there
we're-
wasn't a much. I mean, he had to force Obi-Wan and Yoda
Mhm.
train him for a little bit, and then
He was on his own from there.
yeah, and I don't think he had a whole lot of opportunity to expand on that
Mhm.
because the only person he had to fight was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Darth
And,
Vader.
he
Yeah.
could, the most powerful thing in canon that this Luke Skywalker is known for, because we're not talking expanded universe, we're talking Disney canon, as far as I understand, is him pulling a Star Destroyer out of the sky in the Battle of Jakku.
Which
Again,
that's crazy.
that's the Force.
Yeah,
That's the Force. So
Yeah.
with a lightsaber, I'm sure he's fine. I mean, it was cool in Mandalorian season 2, but
you're also using that same force to
Enhance
enhance
yourself.
yourself.
Mhm.
That's quite that's almost why I almost said it earlier. I was like, I don't know, Darth Vader might still have a chance. He's using that force power. If he's not focusing it on other things, and he's using it to be able to just fully focus on enhancing his ability to battle with a lightsaber, it's a lot of power.
If you go by force powers exclusively, I'm pretty sure Palpatine wins just because like infinite lightning.
unless you just block it back on him. Ray beats him, Brandon. Ray beats him.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
If it's Force users and a battle royale, then it's probably one of the it's what is it, the father?
Oh
No, 'cause Anakin
Oh wait,
controls them.
Abeloth. Abeloth.
Yeah, but she's not canon, Brandon.
she's not
That's
good.
expanded universe.
Adam Scott. Back on subject. All right, I'm gonna press each of you. Just give me who you think off the top of your head.
So we have to choose
Alright.
just one character.
Choose someone. We'll start with you two together. What do you guys say?
I don't know now. I've had so many different thoughts in the past 5 minutes.
I keep throwing random names
I
out
almost
there,
want to say Obi-Wan.
muddying the water.
He's pretty
Honestly.
My
good.
man.
He
My
beats
man.
he beats everyone except for Palpatine.
Yeah.
He beats Anakin. He beats Vader.
And I think Palpatine's going to go pretty quick from somebody else.
yeah,
I think Anakin's going to
Anakin's
kill
or
Palpatine.
or Mace or
Yeah.
Vader. Vader's gonna pick him up. And
Yeah.
I think
Just
I
throw
think
them on the ground.
yeah.
That is kind of the thing, right? Like, I do think just Palpatine will get mobbed. No one likes him. Like, he's not gonna live long.
Think about all the guys we were saying could win: Maul, Palpatine, Vader, Anakin, Luke. Obi-Wan probably beats all those guys
Yeah, I think so.
in
Except
this
for
scenario.
Palpatine.
In this scenario, yeah. And if he doesn't beat Palpatine, someone else is going to. I think it's Obi-Wan.
Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah.
I will
think that's my
concede.
answer.
I think it's Obi-Wan too.
How
Can't
did
believe
this
I'm
happen?
saying it, but I am.
I started this with saying it's not Obi-Wan, and here we are.
Listen, Obi-Wan's my favorite Star Wars character,
Hey.
but
Sometimes logic wins, you know?
yeah.
Dude, there's no way. That's so insane.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man.
Ridiculous.
Brandon,
did this
who are
happen?
you going with?
You guys changed my mind. It's gotta be Obi-Wan.
Who were you thinking before?
Maul.
Okay.
No question in my head. It was
Obi-Wan beat
gotta
him
be
in
Maul.
2 blocks, or he's dead.
Well, yes.
I think
But,
if
like-
we strip all uses of the Force completely, I think it's Maul.
I think
Oh,
it's
maybe.
Grievous.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no-
this could be good.
It's Grievous.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's
Grievous
right.
just
You're right.
blender. Grievous turns into a blender, and it's over.
Yeah.
No
That's horrible.
lightsabers allowed. No lightsabers allowed.
Then it's
gotta
Mace
be-
Windu. He's just gonna punch them all. But Grievous would win. No lightsabers allowed. Again,
Who
him
would
or
win?
Savage Opress. Grievous or Savage Opress would win.
If
no
there was no
lightsabers.
force.
Or Pong Krell.
Oh,
Oh,
he could be good
gosh.
if there was
Oh,
no
Krell.
lightsabers.
I forgot he
Double blade,
existed.
the 2 dual blade. Yeah.
I don't care what argument you're about to put forward. I hate Pong Krell so much that
Oh,
Yes.
there's
yeah.
nothing you could say that would change
That's the
my mind.
point.
Clones
the
were
point.
justified.
Kill that man.
Dude, I'm so
War
happy they
crimes.
shot him.
He's a
That's
Sith.
awful, but
Great arc though. Great series of episodes.
Yeah.
Wes, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? Why didn't I ask you this?
Oh, I've
Top 2.
always said Empire,
Mhm.
but I recently rewatched Revenge of the Sith,
oh,
and
yeah.
I love
My
Revenge of the Sith. It's so good. I will say I also watched it on a huge, bigger than IMAX movie screen, and so that probably
Oh man.
that probably had a
Yeah.
lot to do
a
with
lot
it.
to do with it.
but-
yeah.
Duel
I
of
just
the
think it's so
Heroes is amazing.
Battle of the Heroes.
Yeah,
Battle of the Heroes, sorry.
yeah.
So
It's
those
one
are
of those
top
two,
2.
though. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I love Empire, which I think is a pretty common Star Wars take.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
actually, both of those are pretty
Common
common.
nowadays.
But I think it's for a reason. Stereotypes are usually stereotypes for a reason.
Mhm.
Scott, when I come down to Florida, do you want to just have a massive Star Wars marathon?
Sure.
All of them.
Let's do it.
I just want to watch Star Wars now. I want to watch all 6. of the
Okay.
originals back to back to back.
We can make popcorn. Let's do it.
Yep.
All right.
Shoot, I think even Aitana would be down for that.
Yeah.
Let's we gotta wrap up here soon. So my topic, I just think one of the biggest issues with Star Wars nowadays, my goodness, they have too many good characters.
Serious.
They have too many good characters. That is Star Wars. There's this crazy Nintendo Life article from years and years ago. That's like the problem
Oh,
with the
no.
Nintendo Switch is that there's too many good games and I can't play them all. The problem with Star Wars right now is that there's too many good characters and we can't get stuff for them all. Because I'm thinking, man, so you still got Ezra and Sabine and Hera, like the Rebels crew. I'd love to see some stuff from them. You can totally you've got all these new guys from the sequels. You've got people from Rogue One. You've got um, plenty of characters, both new and old, that have had stuff made about them recently that you could continue to work with, but you're not going to. So my question is, what is, if you could make one show a reality, or one game or one movie a reality, what would it be? Based off of something that's been, like, characters that have been made or worked with since Disney took over Star Wars. For me, I want them to finally grab uh, Alden Ehrenreich again and make those two more Solo movies that they were going to make. That's what I would want. Because I really liked Solo. I think he did a great job as Han. I think they can continue to make... They because that movie didn't perform super well, they totally canned that trilogy. I would love to see that happen. The other alternative would I would totally take more stuff with the Rebels characters, which I know they're gonna do in Ahsoka. So, question for you all: if you could,
Just since Disney's taken over.
just since Disney's taken over, any character they've created or worked with,
Okay.
if you could have something made with it, who would it be? What would it be?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
I would do something along the lines of pre-Phantom Menace. Just the Jedi being peacekeepers, doing, the legend, the job. This is what they're supposed to do. There's no clone army. It's them, it's like you could have like small side stories. It doesn't have to be just Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon because
Dude,
they
but
old.
I would.
You'll have to get other people
You know
to,
what I would do for that show?
play those characters.
I'd love that show. So I would love that if they
Um,
did that.
I think
wanna
it'd be cool if you
see-
just had duos, and like
Yeah.
each season you had like 3 duos or whatever, just doing different things, and then maybe
wanna-
all of them come together at like the end for like a mega plot or something, or they're just doing separate things, but it's the Jedi being peacekeepers.
Yeah.
Because the only time we get to see that actually happen is in the beginning of the Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
when it's
Yeah.
like, go here, figure this out because it needs to get fixed. I think
Yeah.
that'd be so much fun. That would be so cool. You could explore new characters. Like I said, it doesn't have to be Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It could be Plo Koon and his Padawan or whatever. And that would be cool.
Yeah. That could
Also,
be
we don't
awesome.
have a whole lot from that era that's in canon right now. That pre-Phantom Menace, but not the High Republic.
Very simple. I want to see Yoda as a Padawan. I want to see an entire show dedicated to Yoda
Oh,
and how he
man.
became the Grand Master.
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do it.
I like the mystery of him, personally, but that would be cool.
Yeah, we've got this one
Yeah.
comic. I don't even know if it's canon anymore.
Minch.
About
Minch
Minch,
Yoda.
this guy named Minch Yoda,
Yeah.
and it's like a Padawan of Yoda's race, who's like
got a
pretty
ponytail.
aggressive, like a little too angry, but like really deadly. And he learns like, oh, I need to control my emotions, that kind of thing. And but no one's ever
Fights
gone
a
out and said
Sith on Dagobah.
it's basically a whole comic about that. The whole comic is saying the whole time, this is Yoda as a Padawan, without actually saying, this is Yoda.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
we've seen some of that, but I would, yeah, the mystery is, I think, what makes him so special when you see him in Empire for the first time.
Yeah. I don't even like that we've got Grogu, to be honest with you. I think
You only have room in your life for one green little man?
yeah, I think the
And Kermit's already taken that
Sorry,
spot.
Yaddle.
no, I don't know. I think the mystery of just Yoda and who he is and his species, I think it's cool. I think it's a unique thing. I think there should be more room for a lot of stuff like that just in any universe.
Yeah,
Mysterious. They don't need explanations.
yeah. Dude, I was talking about this with my sister the other day. Just one of the hardest things with any franchise is, when do you say no?
Yeah.
When do you decide we're done? We don't need to make more. Because we see that with a lot of TV. Is they go, the first season's pretty good, And if it's promising, they make a second season and it improves, and maybe the small chance the third season's even better. But if they keep going with most shows ending up being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons, it's just
Stargate.
bad after a while. And there's some examples of it being really good.
Psych.
Star Trek.
Psych's good. Stargate's good. Star Trek usually starts horrible, and then they're like, our first 3 seasons are rough, but our back 4, this is why you watch. This you've been watching for some of the best sci-fi you're ever gonna see for these back 4 seasons. But
So you're saying Star Trek is the opposite of that trope you just said.
yes, traditionally it is the opposite of that trope. Yeah, but man, with Star Wars, again, before Disney bought it, I think it was better that we had it's better when Star Wars getting something Star Wars was more special.
Yeah.
And I know people want the thing, but too much of a good thing is what? It's not a good thing. And that's a hard line to walk. So with Yoda, do you make a Yoda show? Because I'd watch it. I love Yoda,
Yeah.
but he is a special character.
But the I'd watch it
Then
thing
how
is
do you
why
deal with
we've
the
had so many
disappointment if
bad.
he doesn't match
Oh,
up?
that's true.
Yeah. They keep getting us with the.
I'd
There's
watch
been
it,
so
though.
many bad things, but I'd
Yeah.
still go watch. Like, I think the only thing I've not done that with is the most recent Marvel things. I'll probably go watch Thunderbolts because I've heard really good things, but
What's it called? New Avengers now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the stuff post
They-
Endgame has been
They changed the name.
awful. But
did?
people still will go
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah, I'm sure it comes out in
apparently-
the movie.
It's a
because people
spoiler
are
in the
holding on to
movie.
the hope that things are going to be good.
It's a spoiler in the movie, which the movie's done really well. A lot of people are saying it's like the best thing since Infinity War or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people like the movie. It's actually all the YouTube channels that I have seen content from that go, Marvel's just been in the dumpster lately. Just tell a personal story. This kind are like Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
So
setting a new
people are
direction
liking it.
for Marvel too, which is a whole thing that I could get into.
It's crazy that they've made. I think I saw it's like 17 movies since Endgame or something
Really?
That many?
already.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And
Or it might be 14.
most of them are not good.
They've made so
Yeah.
many already since Endgame.
Is that
was
including like
6
TV
years ago or whatever.
shows?
I don't know.
Is it just MCU projects?
It might be MCU
Because
projects.
14 movies seems like
Well,
a
so
lot.
what have they made? Shang-Chi, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Spider-Way, Far From Home.
Far From Home.
It was
Oh, yeah,
after
that was
Endgame.
post Endgame as well.
Yep.
Okay, so that's
They've
3.
done 2 Spider-Man
They did
movies since then?
Marvels. They
Yep.
did Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They did Thor.
They
They
did
did. Okay, they did Thunderbolts. They've done Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Black
Widow.
Black Widow. I'm missing
Was Falcon any good?
Eternals.
It was okay.
Guardians 3.
Oh, Guardians 3 was
So we're at
great.
11 right now.
Wow, yeah.
Um,
And there's more than.
Are you counting Falcon
Strange
as
2.
Captain 4?
yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
So that's 12. We're at
Gotcha.
12 right now.
Wow.
Deadpool?
Deadpool.
Technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
13. So that's a lot already to have released
Back
in the
my
past
day.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
6 years. Ant-Man.
Ant-Man,
Okay,
there it
so
is.
we're at
Oh,
14.
man.
Yeah.
That's what it is, 14. And then you count all the shows,
Yeah.
and there's been a lot
There's
of.
been a lot.
I don't think that I'm not one of those people that really thinks franchise fatigue is necessarily a thing. I know I was just saying it kind of is a thing. But if the stuff you're making is good,
Yeah.
imagine if everything had been as top tier as it had been pre-Endgame.
Yeah.
We wouldn't.
We wouldn't be. we
Nobody
wouldn't
would
care.
be complaining.
Yeah,
We
but
wouldn't
they
be going slow down.
Yeah,
But in this
they had too
case-
much going on, I think.
Yeah.
But Bob Iger, the guy who's over Disney, he said that Thunderbolts is the start of a new pace for Marvel where they're going to focus on quality over quantity.
Don't know why they weren't already doing that.
Wait.
I don't either. But because you think about it, before Endgame, we would get 1, maybe 2 a year, and then they slowly, progressively started adding more Marvel movies a year, and then
Yeah.
after Endgame, it was just like overboard. But
Yeah. They basically wanted it so there would be a Marvel movie showing all the time,
yeah,
and it just was too much.
Well, they've
Yeah.
done that. They've most certainly done that. Let me tell you.
I'm excited for Fantastic Four.
I think it's gonna be
My
good.
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's gonna be
super
good.
excited. Yeah. I know some people are skeptical about Pedro Pascal, but I think he'll do a good job
Yeah,
as Mr. Fantastic.
I do too.
I think he fits the role, actually.
Only I was never into comic books, so I don't know much outside of the 3 movies we got, which were
Not great.
I think the first one was okay, like the original first one, and they just slowly
Yeah.
got worse.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the reboot?
Yes, it did.
Was that good?
No, it was
It was not good.
It was quite
It
awful.
was not good. It was very poorly written. Yeah, it was bad. Hey, Scott, you got a little bit of a cat's tail on your face there.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, guys. Final
Ah.
thoughts. Anything else we want to talk about?
Well, I just want to do a callback to last year's episode. Star Wars has great CGI, guys.
What do you think about Star Wars CGI? Prequel CGI? How do you think?
Prequel CGI? Oh,
Oh.
I think for the time it was good for sure. I think
They pioneered it.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 90 like it was the first Phantom Menace was 99,
Mhm.
right? And then into 2005.
Yeah, 99,
I think
2002, 2005.
It hasn't aged well. But I think for the time it was good.
Unfortunately.
I don't know though because
I
we've
think the
also got
first
Lord of
one
the
has
Rings
aged
in the
the
early
worst.
2000s.
The first one has aged the worst.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
Lord of the
Rings
Rings,
really-
their tech, Weta's tech was from ILM.
Okay. Yeah.
So I really
yeah.
think ILM, they are the people who pioneered using digital cameras
Yeah.
and making Lucasfilm, digital cameras and CGI in movies.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why Lord of the Rings was able to have that stuff. They actually they shot the first film on physical, real.
Nice.
And they switched to digital for the other two because George Lucas was like, guys, it's just as good. And it worked for them.
Yeah.
So, I think the quality of the Lord of the Rings CGI is just a little higher level than Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I think it's aged better than Phantom Menace. But I wouldn't say that it's as good as 2 and 3. But
No,
they
I would
used it
agree.
much less.
Yeah.
It's
That is the thing.
That, like, you got that scene of Legolas sliding off the Oliphant.
Dude, I haven't rewatched Return of the King yet, but I just recently rewatched the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, and the CG does not hold up as well as I remembered, but it is better than Phantom Menace. But I agree. I
It's
think
still
Return of the
good.
Jedi is better than.
Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, there's a
Return of the
reason
Yep.
Lord of the Rings
Nope.
trilogy got
Revenge of the
17 Oscars between them.
That's true.
Those
But that
movies
was
look
more
better in
probably
theater,
for like
though.
practical effects and stuff than. I think they're better
Yeah.
movies.
Legolas
for sure.
skateboarding down the stairs
I
at
blow your
Helm's
mind?
Deep.
The 3 Lord of the Rings movies have more Oscars than every single MCU movie combined.
Heck yeah, they do.
Times 3.
Heck
I'm
yeah,
not
they do.
surprised.
That's a masterpiece.
The
Yeah.
Scott and my dad and I, we saw the Return of the King extended edition in theaters a few years
Mhm.
ago.
Heck yeah.
The CGI
Oh, yeah.
looked really, really good.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's the one I haven't
So-
in my like rewatch. I haven't made it to that one yet.
Well, but
My
but
only
at
complaint
home,
would be
it
the
doesn't look as good.
previews.
Oh.
So that's something to
What
think
do you mean by
about.
that, Scott?
Is Scott can get to that in a second. It's hilarious. The CGI in Return of the King hasn't aged as well when from home, but in theaters it looked really good, which is surprising. I'd assume being able to see more detail it would look
It'd be
worse. But I wonder if like seeing Phantom Menace in theaters again, would it look better?
No, I did. I watched it.
You
just,
did?
Yeah, when it came out, was that last year or the year before?
Well, they did Revenge this year.
Yeah.
So did
Phantom
they do,
Menace.
was this
I've
years
watched
ago?
it within the past couple of years.
Okay, in theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they did a re-release, and no, it was not. It was not as good.
And Revenge of the Sith looked fine. You said.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. My buddy is a manager of a theater down in Texas, and so he hooked it up from Disney Plus into the projector, and we watched it on the big
At
screen.
like 2 a.m.
Dude, it was yeah, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when we started it.
That's awesome.
That's the
Um,
best time to go on a Lord of the Rings marathon.
yeah. So I had the Disney version of Revenge of the Sith plugged into a projector. It wasn't like they got the. I didn't get to watch it when it re-released recently,
Okay.
but it I mean, it held up. I mean, like I said, it's a Disney Plus version, so it's. I did
It's
have a
been 4K
sad.
remastered
Yeah,
and all that. Yeah.
I had a sad realization watching the Phantom Menace. No, oh, I didn't watch the Phantom Menace. Yes, I did. Anyway,
You had a sad realization.
rewatching Revenge of the Sith. No, Return of the Jedi on its most recent re-release. I will never know what the original ending was like. I'll never know what the like original Jabba's like band was like. I've only
Yeah.
ever seen post 2004, 2005 whenever they redid it with like the endings of like
Oh, it was like 98 or
Naboo
something.
and
Oh, okay.
they did it well
But
they did
that
another
was
one.
later. Yeah, that was 05, I
on the
think.
DVD releases of
Yeah.
them, and that's all that I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just was kind of sad because I
I've
really
thought about
don't
that
like
too.
it.
Oh, you don't?
No, it just doesn't look.
Mm.
It just takes me out of it for some reason.
Yeah, the CGI. I'm glad the CGI is there in 4, 5, and 6. The CGI changes because it was George Lucas going, I'm finally gonna change these and do what I wasn't able to do back then. Like with
That's fair.
Jabba being in episode 4 instead of
Yeah.
a guy.
Yeah.
Before it was a guy. He goes, I couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
So which they figured it out by 6, but so he went back, but it looks bad.
It
Jabba
does
looks
look
bad
bad.
in episode 4. The other CGI stuff looks fine, but Jabba in episode 4 looks bad.
Yeah.
The stuff in 6 is a little odd.
It looks
Uh,
it looks fine. It just is so out of place
Mhm.
with everything else. I think that's why.
Yeah, and this is the wrong word, but it's like, it's because it doesn't look like this at all, but it's too plasticky. I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting this rough, dirty, practical environment, and you're creating this CGI thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
Scott, just neat.
Yeah. Neat.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is that
I had
all?
a good time. This was fun.
Yeah, this is a ton of fun.
It's a good
Thanks for
episode.
having me on, guys.
Thanks for being
I would
here.
do
Absolutely.
an entire podcast that's just Star Wars.
We probably
just
could.
did.
We
We
didn't
just
even.
did.
We didn't. I mean, there's so much. Like, dude, we need to have you back on next year,
Yeah,
and
for
maybe
sure.
we
I would love
finally
that.
dive into talking actually about the sequels.
Yeah.
Give us one more year to stew.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even want to wait that long. I want to do it right now, but yeah, we've done it. We've done it. All right, so thanks everyone
awesome.
for watching or listening.
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
New episode in 2 weeks. I know we missed one, but we won't. We will try.
That was
Unless
my fault.
someone
Sorry.
gets sick or something, we won't miss another one. So, all right.
I chose to never do it again, and then they changed my mind this week, and I decided to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We had to
exactly
bribe him
what
with
happened.
candy.
We
What
mailed
candy?
we
Call
mailed
me
candy.
fat.
I don't know.
back
It was
to
the
Alaska.
first thing that popped in my mind. I'm sorry.
I like how you
with
got worried.
grapefruits.
Did
We
I
had to bribe
upset
him
him?
with grapefruit.
We made him a bulletproof vest
Yeah.
made out of Smarties.
He made me cry.
We made him a casserole
Wait, a
out of
bulletproof
spaghetti.
vest made of Smarties. What?
That's an interesting one.
It's candy. I was just thinking of candy.
All right. I don't know how else
Maybe
to,
Jolly Rancher would be better. Those are pretty. Or
I love
Jawbreakers.
Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more Star Wars and more couch. So, all right.
Yep.
God bless.